Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys are staying warm. Talk about it being cold. Chase, man. I was just I was over at the dog park with my dog. Same old routine. You guys know the drill, but you talk about it being freezing outside. Man. And yeah, I just I told you guys I'm getting soft. Back in the day, we used to, wear no sleeves, practicing in weather like this and whatnot. But I'm not a fan of it, man. Grew up in South Carolina, very similar climate to here. Not a big fan of the cold. Chase, you a fan of the cold?
That cold can stay away. I don't like the cold either, Christian. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's just I don't know what it does. It's something about it, man. I mean, my muscles, my joints, they feel tight. Thank God I got these Good Feet arch supports to help eliminate and alleviate that. So if you guys are feeling like that, a little stiff with all this cold, make sure you drop by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Try before you buy. Nothing to lose. Again, they're right here in Tuscaloosa, Midtown Village off McFarland Boulevard. You can't miss them. Walk-ins are welcome. Or you can always go to their website, goodfeet.com, schedule an appointment. Find the nearest location to you because they are nationwide, not only in Tuscaloosa, but also Birmingham, Mobile. I think there's a total of 5 locations in Alabama now. They're growing exponentially, and they continue to grow at a very high rate because these things are awesome. So, again, make sure you guys check them out. Clinically proven to eliminate and alleviate that pain in 4 short weeks. Now, they can't change the weather. I wish they could, but they definitely can change how you feel, and that's most important. Everything starts from the ground up. So make sure you guys go check them out at the Good Feet Store. Again, that's the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Chase, we might be pretty soft. I'm looking at I guess I got the weather here on my screen. It says 36 degrees here in Alabama. That's pretty dang cold for us here. I see Mike in the chat. Now, Mike's from up north. He's in New York. 10 degrees, he says, with the wind chill. So maybe we are a little soft down here. I mean, 36 versus 10 degrees. I'll gladly take the 36 degrees. But enough for the weather. What are we all here for? We're here to talk some sports, right? We're talking some ball today, and it's Talking Tuesday. We want to do that with you guys. 205-342-9904 is the number. Make sure you guys hit us up, man. We've got Clint Lamb at the top of the hour. Besides that, we're pretty open. So if you guys want to get y'all's thoughts about this game, feel free to contact us, and we'll talk about it. Or you can always tune into the stream on YouTube at The Miller's Edge or on Facebook as well at Tide 100.9. You can leave your questions, comments, and concerns in the chat, interact with everybody else in the chat, all that good stuff. And we'll discuss it. We'll talk about it because we got a big one on our hands, granddaddy of them all. We got the Rose Bowl coming up, Chase. We're only about a couple days out, man. Again, 3 p.m. kick on Thursday. So we will not be live on Thursday. Tomorrow will be our final show before the big game. So tomorrow we'll do it like a Prediction Friday, except it'll be a Prediction Wednesday type deal. And we'll give our final thoughts about the matchup and what we expect out of this game, which, Chase, I'm really thinking it's going to be a really good matchup, man. But I can't help but feel excited to see how we come out and play, knowing how we played the final 3 quarters against Oklahoma, knowing how much healthier we are. Hell, we didn't even mention this yesterday. I forgot to. LT Overton's back. He's been cleared to return. I think that definitely could, mean a great deal. Now, I'm not saying it definitely changes everything, but to have one of your better guys on defense, arguably one of the most complete players on the defense, right, in terms of his ability to stop the run, provide pressure on the quarterback, man, it's definitely a huge bonus to have him back, especially knowing that one of my keys for this game is to apply pressure on Mendoza. Why not feel good about getting one of your best pass rushers back in LT Overton? So we'll talk a little bit about that and more throughout the show. Plus, we've got plenty of media to catch up on. We still need to talk some more defense. We dove into a little bit of Ryan Grubb's interview yesterday. Actually, we listened to the whole thing. We watched a little bit of tape on Indiana's defense. Yes, we watched some Indiana defense yesterday. We'll probably pull up some Indiana offense since we will lean a little bit more into the defense. Today we'll hear from Kane Womack. It is a longer interview, so maybe we'll kind of jump around through that, just get some of the main initial points with that interview. Plus, there's plenty of player interviews, so we'll pick a couple of those guys and see exactly what those guys have to say. But from everything that I've been hearing, everybody I've talked to, Chase, they're excited for this matchup, not just because you got about, 15 players or so from California, but because I think this team has some new life, some new energy, man. We went from being a rough final couple weeks of the season. Again, wasn't terrible. You had one loss to Oklahoma, but still weren't playing our best ball. Definitely probably hit a low during that stretch when we went to went to Atlanta, faced Georgia in the SEC championship game. Since then, it seems like the health of this team has improved, the morale's back. I mean, that's kind of what you expect, right? We always we coined this, Chase, a new season, right? Anytime you get into to playoff football, you get into with us it was a 14 playoff, now 12 team, but still it's a new season, right? What you did earlier in the year doesn't mean anything at this point. I mean, even on the other side, Indiana being undefeated doesn't really mean anything at this point. It's about what you do on a not necessarily week to week basis because the games are a little spread out, but it's about what you do every time you step on that field. And I think these guys understand that. I think they feel better than ever. And I'm excited to see how they show up. So we'll keep talking about what we expect from these guys. But first, we got to hit a timeout on the Miller's Edge right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art sport experts. Don't go anywhere. Get your blankets, your heaters, whatever you need to stay warm. But make sure you stay locked and loaded because we're just getting started right here on the Miller's Edge. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
We are live at the College Football Playoff quarterfinal at the Rose Bowl between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Indiana Hoosiers. Our coverage is brought to you by Taco Casa. Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa provides.
I was so confused for a second, Chase. I was like, did Wyatt just infiltrate the stream again? I'm like, where did Wyatt just come from? No, that was an ad. What's up, guys? Who we got in here? Let's see. Keith, what's up? Superfly, what's up? Phil, Mike, Keith. We got two Keith, sorry. Yeah, no, it sounded so clear, Chase. I was like, wait, what the hell? Did Wyatt just jump on here? 40 sunny in Charlotte. Bring on spring. Man, dang, it's 40 in Charlotte too. I guess everybody's getting this cold front, I guess. Let's see. Who else we got? Travelpreneur Mimi, what's up? Dwight T. Oh, we got our friends from Oklahoma back in here, man. Is it Oski? How do you pronounce that? Oski Sooner? Oski Sooner? Probably Oski, right? What's up, guys? Justin Bam Center, what's up, man? Hey, I got your email, by the way, so it should be all good to go, man. By the way, if you guys didn't hear yesterday, I'm going to be jumping on the Bama Standard tonight with those guys, 6 p.m. So if you guys want to come hang out, tune into that. Make sure you guys check that out. We'll be breaking down this Indiana matchup with the gang over there. Looking forward to it. Crazy house in the 30s this week, but it felt like spring break on Christmas. Yeah, man, that's what I was thinking that to myself this morning. I'm like, hold on, won't they just? Oh, I was right the first time. Oski, old school term. Oh, nice. That's what's up, man. Oski, I got it. I'll remember that. If you keep hanging out with us, man, that's cool, man. Always welcome, man. We welcome everybody. I promise. We'll talk. We talk other teams. I promise, and I'll definitely do a better job of it in the future. It's just 95% of our listeners are Alabama fans, so got to tailor to them a little bit. But I definitely want to start diving into some more, especially SEC. We'll probably start there. We'll start diving a little bit deeper into some of these other SEC teams. Moving forward. Start there. Been in the 80s where you're at the last 2 days. Where the hell are you? Hold on, Superfly. You might be overseas, brother. Unless you're down in Miami or something. Damn, the 80s and now you only dropped to the 60s, brother. That must be nice. I'm jealous of you. Get down, buddy. Get down. I don't know why you all of a sudden want to come over here. Money, what's up, man? Where should we start, guys? Should we start with the Kane Womack stuff or should we golly, this dog's driving me nuts. Been flooded by Indiana trolls past week and a half. You know what's funny? We haven't really had too many. Actually, I don't even know if we really had any at all. I swear though, I feel like that we only get pushed to Alabama fans majority of the time, which all good with me, but no, I would love to have other people in here too. Hey, look, we're neutral. I mean, obviously, I'm always going to lean Alabama, but you guys know me. I try to call it fair. I try to just be insightful. That's all I try to do. But I get it with the whole Bama jersey in the back, all the national championship decoration. Yeah, I mean, it's giving Bama for sure. Southernmost point, Texas. Huh. Damn, must be nice. Nice place to start. A little concerned about it. We can talk a little bit about that. Defense first, start with the Kane interview. All right, we'll do a little bit of both. We'll start there. Kane's interview is 17 minutes. I'll start with like the first 3 minutes or so because I know he just previewed them like with his opening statement. First question, I think, was about getting LT back. So we'll kind of start there and just let it flow. But let me pull up this Indiana tape though. I want to watch a little bit of their offense with you guys. Let's see. Indiana defense, Indiana offense. Here we go. All right, cool. Cool. Hold on 1 second. If you guys want some information, they're telling me you have to listen. Oh, yeah. Yeah, those Marvin and them, man, they're wild sometimes. In a good way. They're funny, man. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Time 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, Chase, we talked a little bit about the weather in the first segment, and I thought we were going to leave that to James Spann, but Money had a good point here in the chat about the weather out in the Rose Bowl, right? Because that's probably going to be something to pay attention to, at least from what I've seen. Chase, allegedly, it's supposed to be a pretty rainy day, good chance of rain, and we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but just to kind of answer Money's question, is there any concern on my behalf? I don't know if I would necessarily say it's concern, but I think it's definitely something to pay attention to. We all know that weather can affect football games, depending on the type of weather, right? If you watch the NFL, there's a lot of snowy games, right? You see how that can have an effect on things. Rainy, weather, right? Wet footballs typically can increase the chances of turnovers. Sometimes limits teams through the air. You got to lean a little bit more in your running game. So, yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Is it something to consider? Absolutely. We'll just have to see what exactly ends up taking place. Now, I'm reading this online right here. And again, I'm no James Spann, but it looks like by kickoff, which again is 3 p.m. Central Time, make sure you guys check out all the coverage. I do some pregame stuff with the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Make sure you tune in. You can listen to it wherever you listen to the network. Definitely can listen to it on Tide 100.9, by the way. But says most likely the widespread heavy rain will be gone before kickoff. But they definitely do recommend being prepared for scattered showers and occasional light rain, and the temperatures will fall from 60 to 58 during the game. So not a huge drop there. But the good news is, for anybody that was wondering about the weather for this matchup, it looks like it's more so going to be, I guess, finished up the heavy rain, so to speak, before the game. Still could be, wet field conditions, all that stuff. But in terms of like worrying about a big downpour, kind of like that monsoon we saw against USF, and we all know how that game looked, all these guys slipping around. I get it, totally different game, different location, but you get the point. Shouldn't necessarily be anything like that. Maybe some light showers, but it's not looking like it's going to be this big monsoon that I think initially people were concerned about. That said, I mean, are there still concerns, wet field conditions, stuff like that? Yeah. Best thing I would say is make sure, Springer and the guys over with the equipment staff, make sure they packed all the proper equipment, which, again, this is the University of Alabama. You guys shouldn't have to worry about that, man. These guys should be on top of all of that. But believe it or not, there is, certain cleats that are recommended for these conditions. I know, like in the NFL, the Panthers, like we always had, separate cleats for raining conditions. And, if it looked like it was going to rain, our equipment team literally swapped our cleats that they had. Like we had issued cleats for that. So I'm sure that they're taking all those measures. But if it is one of those situations, I mean, I said it yesterday, I'll be honest with you, it probably leans a little bit more in Indiana's favor, knowing that they have a more consistent running game. That said, I don't see it necessarily being a huge effect. I don't think it should be that bad, but who knows, man? I think we'll be just fine, but definitely something to look out for because we rely on our passing game. It's one of the better passing games in the country when it's clicking, and when you have the weather to battle against, that's never fun for a team that doesn't really run the ball great. So we'll just have to keep an eye out on that. In terms of starting with some defensive stuff, I know I got some tape pulled up, but I want to hear from Kane Womack first, especially for our radio listeners. But again, all you guys listening via radio, keep doing your thing. But if you ever do want to watch us do the show and you can see the tape, the things that we discuss at times, just check us out at the Miller's Edge, completely free. We just ask you hit that like button on your way in and subscribe if you enjoy the content, which I'm sure you will. If you're a fan of Alabama or just football in general, like learning about the game, I promise you will not be disappointed, man. You're always going to learn something when we got the tape pulled up. I can guarantee that. That said, let's hear a little bit from our defensive coordinator. I'm excited to see this game plan that they come up with. Hey, we got a good task ahead. We're facing the Heisman Trophy winner in Fernando Mendoza, who's a really good football player, really accurate guy, bigger, taller quarterback, a little bit of a running ability. Not, I would never consider a guy like this a dual threat, but he can make plays with his legs when it's needed to extend some plays, rolling out of the pocket, things like that. That said, he doesn't make very many mistakes. Really smart guy. Makes all the throws that you need him to make. He puts it in good positions for his receivers to make plays. And listen, they're just very fundamentally sound. We talked about that yesterday. This team doesn't make very many mistakes. When you watch them on film, which we'll do here in a minute, you'll see. I mean, they execute well. All the little fundamental details they do a good job with. They're very balanced, have the ability to run the football. We just talked about their quarterback. He has no problem making the throws that you need him to make. And they've got some pretty decent skill guys. I mean, I would say pound for pound, if you just go off of the athletes, I mean, look, we have a team probably with better athletes, but when you're going against a team like Indiana and they make up for that with good fundamentals and solid technique, a good scheme that puts them in good positions and they execute at a high level, kind of helps even the playing field, which is what makes this team a really good football team. That said, let's hear from the defensive coordinator, Kane Womack, get a little bit of insight from him on how he goes about defending this Indiana offense, who is one of the better offenses in the country. I think they're averaging, again, I understand their schedule, right? But one's like 40 or so points a game, 220 on the ground, 250 through the air. So definitely a good challenge on his hands. But he's actually been one of the bright spots this season. Him and his defensive staff has done a really nice job being consistent, fixing some of the things that they struggled with early on in the year, and just really overall playing some good football. So let's hear from the defensive coordinator, Kane Womack.
Had really two good weeks here in preparation or in the second week of preparation. Coming off the first round of the playoffs, it's been great for our guys. I think we've been in a position where we've probably been as healthy as we have been in a number of weeks. You got some of the early enrollees out here, so that's always nice with these new freshmen coming in here. Kind of like Christmas morning, right, for a coach, right, to get to play with all the new toys you recruited, and those guys have got a great demeanor and bringing some energy out there to practice. And our older guys are doing a great job of continuing to build the legacy of how we do things and play in the standard of Alabama's defense. I think obviously we got a great opponent in Indiana coming up. I had some really great times there and had some special moments and some great memories of my time in Bloomington. Kalen and I met each other there and coached together as coordinators, and so some really great memories in that position. I think the world of Coach Signetti and his staff. They've done a really tremendous job. Their administration has done a phenomenal job. Scott Dolson, their athletic director, of just everybody pulling the rope in the same direction. And it's awesome to see what they have done with their program in 2 years. Offensively, I think they are highly efficient, very explosive. That starts with their quarterback. He knows where to go with the ball. He's very decisive, makes great decisions with the ball, and can make all the throws and can make the explosive plays when it matters most. They're very disciplined, very detailed, probably as disciplined and as detailed as an offense as we have faced. I think their physicality shows up on tape. They play the game physical from an offensive line standpoint. Their tight ends and blocking, their run game. I think they do a great job of, if you'll give them 4 yards in a cloud of dust, they'll take it all day long. And they've got great RPO answers matched off of their run game as well. But I think the thing that stands out probably as much as anything is they make plays when it matters most. And they have made the plays to put them in position to be undefeated to this point in the season. So it's a great challenge, one that we are very much looking forward to. Awesome and honored to be playing and representing this football team in the Rose Bowl. And certainly more work ahead, but excited for the task at hand.
All right, thank you, Coach. Let's start with Charlie on the far right side.
Yeah, Coach, you talked about being healthy, and we saw LT back on the field today too. Just how big of a boost is that going into a game against an offense like this?
Yeah, I think that's an awesome blessing. Just for LT, it's awesome for us, for him. He obviously needs to have another good couple of days here, but is certainly on track. And to have him in this game, his experience, certainly his excitement of wanting to get back out on the field and go compete with his teammates. I mean, he's an ultimate competitor. He's done a really good job of staying in shape, which was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that if the opportunity was to come back, that he would be in great shape, and he looks great right now. So very excited for him, very excited for us. And when you have a difference maker like that off the edge, it certainly changes your defense.
Let's go to Chase on the front left.
I want to ask you about your dad's presence on the sideline this season. Just what has he brought to you in terms of being a center?
This is a game you truly cannot miss. It's the biggest game of the year, and we're now just 30.
South Carolina on the road, and as soon as the game is over, by the time I get on the bus, he's got his notes on 8 games, 10 games, whatever it is of the next opponent. And so it just allows me to one step ahead with somebody that knows me, knows this defense, understands the bigger picture, and it really just kind of clarifies and crystallizes what I'm thinking about from a game plan standpoint from one week to the next. And then he watches every practice. He's got his iPad there in Oxford, Mississippi, and he'll have thoughts and notes and stuff from what we're doing in practice. And so usually when you have somebody like that, it crystallizes the mission, right? It keeps the main thing, and it never keeps us too far off that North Star constructive on defense in general. And we have those elements to what we do. But there has been a recipe of how we operate and what we do defensively. And so execution has been really the critical component of what we do. And really against these guys, right, that comes at a premium. They are very disciplined. They are deep. We've got to be, we got to beat them at their own game in terms of what they're doing fundamentally. So execution comes at a premium. Playing with great fundamentals comes at a premium. We certainly will have answers, just like we did in the Oklahoma game. We had to make some real adjustments, but ultimately we have to do what we do well that's got us to this point, and then be ready to answer and adjust based off of what we're getting in the game.
Let's go to Joe in the middle of the room.
Coach, Indiana only has eight turnovers this season. What do they do so well to protect the football, and what do you see opportunities for your defense in this game to create takeaways?
Yeah, there's always opportunities to create takeaways. Good, nice job on that. I saw you were very proud of yourself for using the word takeaways. I think when you look at them, they're very disciplined. They're very detailed. It's the reason why they're one of the top teams in the country in turnover margin. It's the reason why they're one of the top teams in the country in penalties. We're as good as anybody in the country at attempting to take the ball off of people. It doesn't mean that we always get it, but we are going to attempt to take it off. And so, it will be a great challenge for us, but we will also be a great challenge for them. And one that, I think really when you start looking at the markers of the game, the turnover margin will be a huge indicator to who wins that game. And I know that you could point to that in a lot of different scenarios, but explosive plays and turnover margin, I think will define the outcome of this football game.
We got a couple more from the left side. Let's go to Hunter first, and we'll go to Will.
Hey, Coach, when Xavier Brown arrived on campus and you saw him practice for the first time, was there an expectation level that he could become
phenomenal players that have come through these halls, but what, some pretty special moments that he's already created for this football team.
All right, Will next on the far left.
Coach, there's a good amount of talk around Indiana that surrounds Fernando Mendoza and what he's able to do, but he's not the only player on that offense that's good. Who else has stood out to you as you prepare for this game?
Well, as there should be. I mean, there's a reason why he won the Heisman Trophy. He is a fantastic player. The offense goes with him, right? He's the leader of that offense, and he's the reason why they're able to do the things that they do and be efficient. But they have on the flip side, they have a very good run game. They have a very good detailed RPO scheme and answers in their run game, and so they'll do a great job of they can bleed you down the field if you'll allow them to do that. And so we got to do a great job of playing with vision and rallying to the ball and driving on those short throws so that we don't allow them to create more things down the field. But when you look at them, they're receivers, they block, they compete their tail off for the ball when it's in the air. That you can tell they've got great chemistry between their quarterback and he puts the ball out there and he does a great job of putting the ball out. But some of those plays, those receivers just went and got it. Now he gave them a chance to do it, but they got to finish and come down with the ball. So he's got super competitive receiving core, including their tight end. But they have a very trusted run game that has showed up for them just about in every single game. They haven't blown the doors off in every single game rushing the football, but they're very efficient in what they do and they stay on schedule because of it.
All right, so we'll stop there because it's a long interview, and I feel like we got a lot of good information from. We'll piggyback up on it here in a minute if we get a chance. But we need to stay on schedule, so we're going to hit a quick timeout. We'll respond to what we heard from defensive coordinator Kane Womack in a minute. He spoke about this Indiana offense, talked about Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Fernando Mendoza, and some things that they've been looking to do defensively. So we'll discuss all that here in a moment when we come back after this quick timeout. Guys are looking for a place to go watch the game this Thursday. Look no further than R&R Cigars. Not only do they offer the best cigars in the Southeast with the best humidor there, they also offer great entertainment. If you want to go watch the game, go hang out with some folks, enjoy some nice drinks. They got over 160 bourbons, just over 160, and that includes the new Yay Alabama drinks as well if you want to go try those. But they've got a number of drinks that you can try. Drink responsibly, but enjoy a drink, enjoy a nice cigar, enjoy some Alabama football. Not only football, but basketball, baseball. They support all the programs here. So if you're looking for a spot like that, man, look no further. R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street here in Tuscaloosa. And they always offer those same deals, maybe not the alcohol, but the cigars on the website, rnrcigars.com. Code Miller's Edge should get you a good discount as well. So make sure you guys check that out. Again, that is R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. Quick timeout. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Hey, I'm Christian Miller, and at Asphalt Restoration, we transform driveways and parking lots with expert repairs, new paving. What's up, guys? Who's everybody who's just tuning in? If you guys haven't, man, hit that like button real quick. We always appreciate that. We're talking a little bit more about defense right now today. We got some tape I'm about to pull up here in a minute. And we got Clint Lamb joining us at the top of the hour from Cover Crimson. So that's what we got on tap right now. 205-342-9904 is the number, by the way, if you guys want to jump on the phone lines. I think we're open right now. So if anybody wanted to do that. I know you guys asked about Kane Womack's dad. So I thought people were hip to that. I thought a lot of people already knew that. But, yeah, his dad is very much involved. Going back to when they first got here, his dad was always around at practices, scrimmages, almost like in that mentor role. I feel like, and I feel like Lane, Paul said, drop my like. No worries, brother. You can always pick it back up. I feel like Lane's dad might have somewhat been a little bit of a kind of advisor type deal. I feel like I used to see Lane's dad every now and then, and maybe I'm tripping, maybe I'm mixing it up, but I'm pretty sure he used to come every now and then, but a little bit different because I feel like Kane's dad is like more involved than I've ever seen in terms of like a coach's dad or something being around so much. Like he said his dad might as well be an analyst. Now, to y'all's question about is he on the payroll? It's a good question that I'll be honest, I don't have the answer to. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if he's compensated in some capacity. I wouldn't be shocked if he's just helping his son out because he enjoys, watching his son coach and coaching. I mean, his dad's a longtime coach as well. So I don't know. I don't know if he's necessarily getting paid, but I can tell you he's definitely very much involved. So much to where, like, I mean, during game days, he's on the sideline walking around right near Kane, like on game days. You guys probably just didn't realize that was his dad. But he's around a lot. But hey, I mean, if it helps them out, man, hey, whatever it takes to keep playing some good defense, man. Yeah, Monty Kiffin's a great coach as well. But see, he was a little bit different. He wasn't like he would come up there every now and then. You know what I mean? Like Kane's dad is legit. I mean, Kane's dad literally is like in his back pocket. I mean, practices, scrimmages, games. Um, he's there like all the time. I mean, he might as well be. If he's not on staff, he might as well be. I believe we have a puncher's chance. I understand we're inconsistent, but they have no respect for Bama anymore. You mean like nationally they don't have respect for Bama? Or are you talking about Indiana? I know Justin was saying they've had a bunch of Indiana folks over on that. I hadn't heard much from it. I've seen some of like I think Clint was like tweeting back and forth with some people. I don't know. I hadn't really had any interactions with anybody on Indiana's end. But again, I kind of just I'm just here to break the game down. I don't really get involved with like the back and forth stuff with these other people. I give credit where it's due, and I just talk about it from an analytical standpoint. So I couldn't tell you guys how their fans are. Oh, nationally? Well, I mean, to be fair, look, I mean, when you listen, when you give them something to talk about, that's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's necessarily people just are out to get Bama. I'm sure there's probably some people that maybe have some fatigue. I don't think there's like a witch hunt or some, agenda necessarily, but and welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Chase, that might be a new song we use. I like that. That kind of had that like Jersey, what's it called? Jersey song. Anyway, I don't know. Sounded like one of those beats. That was smooth though. Anyway, welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. We just got done listening to Kane Womack talk a little bit about this matchup, his defense and whatnot. And I'll say this, Chase. One thing that stood out to me, he talked about going into this game, having several plans. I agree with him. That was something that I felt like we were missing last year that they've done much more of this year. And I think it's paid dividends, right? He talked about the Oklahoma game. You know, they went into it with one plan, wanting to do one thing. What was that plan? Well, I can tell you guys just watching the tape, they played a lot of zone. And what was that zone, right? It was, cover two type deal where they're using a safety as a middle field runner, where it almost is like an invert two on one side because normally in cover two, you got, two safeties as half players, corners as, flat players. But the way we're doing it, I think it's like a field boundary type deal. But we're using one of the safeties that typically is a half player as the middle field runner because, again, the middle part of the field is the weak spot. So you always have a middle field runner. Typically, it's more of like a linebacker doing it. But we were using our safety as that spot in Keon Sabb, then having our corner be the other half player. And then we were using our Husky as the flat player. So basically kind of like an invert two on one side, regular two on the other. That said, we were running a bunch of that early on, a lot of zone coverage. And Oklahoma was doing a nice job kind of picking it apart. And I think they studied some tape. I think they anticipated a lot of that. And that's why, if anybody knows how offenses work, man, you always like first drive or first series, everything's pretty much scripted. That's what they take all that time preparing and stuff for. They always want to start as, hot and as, as fast as they can. And I thought they had a great game plan. But what I really thought was, even better was the fact that we also had a game plan in terms of adjusting. And we started playing much more man coverage, brought more pressure, and, you saw the effect that it had. So hearing him talk about that, carrying that over into this next football game, I think it shows, Chase, like the growth from this unit, this staff. Because if you go back to last year, I'm just going to be honest with you. I thought we were too vanilla on defense, very predictable. It was almost like we just, it was either earlier we just ran a whole bunch of this cover three and didn't disguise it a whole bunch. I mean, we were sitting in single high. We didn't really show a whole bunch of two high looks. I feel like we just showed a lot of single high to straight cover three, almost like country cover three coverage, not many, match principles. And then we started playing a whole bunch of man coverage. And again, we were showing it pre-snap. It was pretty evident we're in man coverage and we were just playing it over and over. This year, the evolution of the disguising pre-snap, and you're seeing that actually, have benefits. I mean, the Xavier Brown interception against Oklahoma, that was, great disguise, number one, showing that it was cover zero. then nice by Xavier Brown. They got what they wanted out of the quarterback. Quarterback completely thought, okay, cover zero pre-snap. The receiver, I'm sure, read it as he converted the route. The quarterback didn't. The quarterback just thought they're hitting a quick out, but he converted. Miscommunication on their end turned into a pick six for Xavier Brown and us. Huge deal in that football game. What I'm getting at is I say all that to say, I feel like we weren't seeing those types of things last season that we're seeing now. So shout out to Kane Womack and maybe his dad a little bit. He just talked about his dad. Maybe his dad has a little bit of influence on that. But I think that's smart going into this game. He talked about the RPO system that Indiana runs. It is an RPO system. You don't worry too much about Mendoza necessarily running, but it still is something, RPOs isn't just about, quarterback running, or really it's more so, hey, they can either run the football, they can hand it off, or they can hit you in the passing game. And that's always tough for a defender, right? Because you're reading your keys, you're a linebacker, you're reading the guards up front. All your keys are telling you, hey, we got to run. We're getting run action, but then they're hitting a slant or hitting windows behind you. So will be important not only to have a game plan to adjust, because again, you always want to have that, but two, for our guys, say for whatever reason we get into this matchup and what we come into it with initially isn't necessarily having the success that we need, it's going to be important that we have that ability, which we showed as recent as last game against Oklahoma. So definitely really good progress out of our defense is the best way to put that, Chase. And then he also mentioned LT Overton coming back. Excited to see what he can do. Plus, I'm excited. We hadn't really talked about this, Chase, but Yanze Pierre, we know he's come along second half of the season. We said, hey, we need somebody to step up. I said way back when, I said Yanze Pierre needs to be a guy on this defense, to produce. We need his pass rush ability. Sure enough, he answered the call. Well, now I want to turn my attention back to Chase, number 4, right? Quay Russaw, a guy who was coming along before he got injured, and even before Yanze really came on. And he was looking good, Chase. Unfortunately, he ended up going down lower extremity injury. But now he's back. And when he came back against Auburn and saw him a little bit, Georgia, Oklahoma, I still don't think he's been healthy. Well, he's had even more time now to get healthier. I'm excited to see what maybe he comes out and can do. Because, again, I'm telling you guys, I think the key to this game defensively, stop the run, pressure Mendoza, and win the turnover battle. Come up with some turnovers, get the ball back to the offense, stop these guys. I think, and again, I know that's kind of typical keys for a defense, but to me, as efficient, as disciplined as this offense is, man, I mean, you got to find ways to make them as uncomfortable as possible and force them to make mistakes, because they're not naturally going to make those mistakes. You got to force these issues. That's why they call them takeaways, or at least that's why they prefer the term takeaway over turnover. So I think it's going to be huge, which both these teams do a great job of both, right? I mean, Indiana, I think, has forced 25 turnovers. Only I think had 8 turnovers on offense. And we're very similar. I think we forced 20 turnovers, and our offense is in a similar ballpark range in terms of how many turnovers we've lost. So very similar in that aspect. But I do think that also is a big key. But defensively, man, you got to get pressure on the quarterback. And I'm excited to see what that looks like. Another guy's coming along too, right? I mean, Keon Keeley, man, it's funny. I mean, if you really break down the tape, you'll see, man, you can tell he's still kind of getting his feet wet. There's a lot of the good that we've seen where he ends up making some plays. I'm not going to lie. We got to get him to, limit the mental errors that we've seen. But, hey, he's coming along, and somehow he finds himself making plays when he's on the field. So I think those guys need to step up tremendously, and I'm excited that LT will be back in that group as well. Let's do this, Chase. Let's hit a timeout to stay on schedule. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling. We got Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson at the top of the hour. We'll keep breaking down this Rose Bowl matchup between Alabama, Indiana, again, New Year's Day. 3 p.m. Central Time. We talked about the weather. Shouldn't be as, I guess, wet as we initially thought it might be. So that's, I guess, good news for our offense. But I will say this, Chase. We're going to be starting the New Year's with the outcome of this game. So hopefully we can start 2026 off on the right foot with the Alabama dub and heading to the next round of the college football playoffs. But we'll be where our feet are. We'll keep talking about this matchup and more right here on the Miller's Edge when we come back. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC. All right, Chase, that Jersey drill, I like that, man. I like that. That's smooth, man. That's smooth. Indiana's D can give up explosive plays if you face them. To be stretched, it can be a problem. Go route, seam routes, deep digs. Can burn them. We can beat them deep, but we have time. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I can tell you right now, they're gonna bring pressure. I mean, these guys run a lot of different things. They bring a lot of pressure. I want to say, what was their pressure rate? Where's my phone at? I want to say they pressure about 50% of the time. Let me see if I still have it. Yeah, they pressure about 50% of the time. And they're second in the league or in the country in tackles for loss. So I mean, aggressive unit, man. They get after it. Sacks, I want to say they're up there too. Let me just pull up all the numbers. Hold on, before I do that, let me get y'all's questions. Chris Chapman, what's up, man? He says, think you just break down the game. That's why I like you, because everyone drinking out about media and fan bases only happen like this. Because what we've been looking like, which isn't the Bama consistency. Yeah, listen, and that's why I get it. I'll be the first one to tell you. Is there some Bama fatigue? Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some Bama fatigue. Okay, appreciate that, Judge. They're number one in pressure rating, 34 sacks just behind Oklahoma. Yeah, I was about to say, I know. Listen, if you're 2 in the country in tackles for losses, you're going to be up there in sacks. It's a given. But no, I'm with Chris, man. It's like I see both sides. There's definitely some Bama fatigue. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. But I don't think there's like necessarily like an agenda out or like a witch hunt that like everybody's out to get us necessarily just because they have. I'm sure there are some people, but what I'm getting at is I think some Alabama fans just take it anytime someone says something negative or has an opinion going against Alabama, they immediately lump it in that category. If it's coming from somebody like the brand new guy or whatever, I hate even saying his name, man. I'm not a fan of his, man, just because not even for his takes, man, just because my experiences with him, man. He's a very rude person. But anyway, like somebody like that or like Danny Cannell, those guys, that definitely gives, somebody has an agenda. They're saying whatever. But to be fair, even like, listen, I know people hate Damian Harris right now. And I honestly hate that whole situation's like that. I really do. Because I mean, that dude's a team. He's my co-captain here, man. Like, just feels wrong. It's crazy to say this, but I mean, the way we played at times during this year, some of the criticism is warranted. I mean, if you're being honest, some of it actually is warranted. I think Damian and some of these other people go a little too hard? Yeah, I think it's a little bit. I think that you can scale back some. Just like, I mean, Coach Saban sits on game day. Does everything he says about Alabama just talk about how perfect we are? Hell no. I mean, it's about credibility. Like, I mean, like people listen to former players like myself or Damian or Greg or former coaches like Coach Saban because they want honest, breakdowns. They want to learn, right? If you're not honest when you're doing these things, like from our positions, you lose your credibility. And so I get, some of the criticism. I think it is warranted. Like, I'll be the first one to agree. Like, looking at our offense the second half of the year, we did not look good offensively. We did not run the ball consistently. Our passing game, which was pretty damn impressive the first half of the year, I mean, was sputtering, way too inconsistent. I mean, we were rotating a bunch of offensive linemen. Listen, I know we talk about rotating and getting guys experience. Like, yeah, from that perspective, it is one thing, but offensive line is one of the few positions where, like, it's not common or ideal to be rotating a bunch of guys. You got to have chemistry there. I mean, there's just a number of things that we had issues with, and I think when people are honest about it, sometimes our fan base don't want to hear it, or maybe the delivery is wrong. It's like, I think, like, to Damian's point, some of the stuff he was saying wasn't necessarily wrong. I think it's just he was going way too hard in saying it. So, just my 2 cents. But if anybody thinks that he has like some vengeance against this university, no, I promise you guys, it's not that at all, man. I think he just knows how to get reactions, and he leaned into it a little bit too much and went a little bit too hard. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Expert. Speaking of talking, man, I feel like I've been doing a bunch of talking. But don't worry. We'll be talking with Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson here in about 7 minutes or so, just shy of it. So we'll look forward to doing that. Love getting Clint's perspectives, man, especially when it comes to I mean, listen, you guys know me, man. I'm a tape junkie. I love watching tape. I break the game down from that perspective. I mean, trust me, I do my due diligence there. But in terms of going deep in the trenches of numbers and stats and all these things, man, Clint is, one of the best when it comes to that. And I always enjoy getting his perspective because not only does he does his homework there, but he also watches a lot of tape and has a good understanding of the game, man. So I really respect that about him. So we'll get his perspective on this matchup between Alabama and Indiana here in about just under 6 minutes or so. But Chase, we got a few more, I guess, clips or interviews that we need to get to. I want to get to a player interview if we can real quick because I know we've got about 3 or 4 minutes before this goes. I don't know if we'll have enough time, but I wanted to hear from at least one of the guys while we had a few minutes. I do know Damani Jackson spoke to the media yesterday and Cuevas did. I feel like since we've been talking about defense, we should probably stay, I guess, on that route. So let's see, man. We got Keon Sabb, we got Xavier Brown. Oh man. Let's go with Xavier Brown. He's a California guy. He's been playing some damn good football recently. His is about 4 minutes or so. So we got just enough time to squeeze it in here real quick. So we'll do that. We'll hear from Alabama cornerback Xavier Brown ahead of this matchup against Indiana, who will be in California since he's come to Alabama. A long way for him, but now he's got the luxury of having all his people at the game. This is what he had to say a day or so ago when speaking to the media.
You talked about it after the Oklahoma game. Just how successful were you in getting a lot of tickets for this game out in Cali?
Not too successful as I would like, but I got a good amount.
Let's go to Joe in the middle of the room.
Xavier, Indiana has only 8 turnovers this season. You're a guy who's had a lot of key takeaways for Alabama this season. What do you see in their offense's ability to take care of the football, and what do you think about your opportunities to take away the football?
Yeah, facing an opponent that does a great job of taking care of the ball really just puts kind of more stress on us reading our keys and trusting being able to pull the trigger and make plays when there's that small margin of when they pop up, when opportunities pop up.
Go to Will on the left side.
A lot of hype around Fernando Mendoza winning the Heisman and everything else that he's done this year in their offense. He's a guy that can make a lot of different throws, put the ball in a lot of places. What's the challenge of facing a quarterback that can do the things like he does?
Heisman winner, definitely the best quarterback we faced all year. Can put the ball anywhere on the field, and it just puts stress on us. Playing our game, getting pressure on him, playing complementary. With our front and the back end, and just trusting we see in the film room.
Let's jump over to the front right to Blake.
What have Jordan Edmonds and Zion Gibson kind of shown you, and what have they been like in the first couple of days in your room as early enrollees?
They're focused. They're locked in. I think they move around real well, especially for just getting here. But I think they look real good out there.
Go to Hunter on the back left.
Hey, Xavier, Coach Woming said when you were a freshman that you were as pro ready as he's ever seen. What are your thoughts on him giving you your flowers part in the plane?
It's a blessing that he put me in this position. I'm grateful for it. Just seizing my opportunities and taking advantage when they come.
Let's go all the way in the back of the room to Trevor.
David, it can't be easy to move across the country for college. So what does it mean to you to get that opportunity to play in front of more family and friends, get to play close to home?
Yeah, it really means the world to me, honestly. It's countless people who haven't got to see me play in person in 2-3 years. So going back home in the Rose Bowl against the Heisman, it can't get any better than this.
You have questions from the middle of the room? You're good? Okay, let's go back right to Johnny.
Coach DeBoer said a week or two ago that you have a good ability to take calculated risks when it comes to trying to jumping routes. I'm interested in that split second, how difficult it is to make the decision of whether you want to lay back or try to go for the ball.
It's a gut feeling, kind of get maybe a little spidey sense or something like that, but really just trust being able to pull the trigger.
Any other questions for Xavier? Let's follow up with Charlie.
Just sticking with the California theme, how much of your quarterback room, all of you guys being from out there, looking forward to being out there, how much are you guys talking about that?
I was just talking to Damani the other day, just kind of how like it's kind of similar for us not really understanding like what it's like for the guys from Bama to play games like against Auburn, Iron Bowl, and stuff like that. We got to get used to those type of things. Like for us, it's kind of opposite. Like they might not know exactly what this means for us to go back and play at home in the Rose Bowl and stuff like that.
So there you go. That was short and sweet, but that was Alabama cornerback Xavier Brown speaking to the media about this matchup. A lot of questions about him traveling back home. Again, really cool for those guys. A number of California kids on this roster, so they get to play in the Rose Bowl. I didn't think of it like that. Not only are they going back to Cali, but playing in the Rose Bowl, which is a huge deal for somebody, especially being out there. I mean, we know the significance of the game, even in Alabama, but only could imagine being from California definitely makes a lot of sense. So shout out to him, man, playing some really good football, and talk about him being one of the most kind of pro-ready type guys, or just mature for his age. I remember when he first got there, and when I was seeing him at practice, everybody was saying the same thing. I mean, this guy is, for a freshman, he's following in the footsteps of guys like the Minkas of the world, right? The guys that I remember when Minka was still in high school, he was just at like a spring practice, and he's over there talking about the defense with Coach Saban, and they're like, I mean, I was impressed with him too. In his first day in 7-on-7, you could just tell Minka was going to be that dude. And this kid, I shouldn't call him a kid, excuse me, Xavier Brown. This guy reminds me a lot of that type of pedigree of a football player. But we got to hit the top of the hour break. When we come back, we'll be joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, talking about this Rose Bowl matchup. So make sure you guys stay locked and loaded. We're not going anywhere. We're just hitting a quick top of the hour break right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC. Clint Lamb when we come back. All right, real quick while we got a chance. Sorry about that audio. What it is they're using just their camera audio from the interview. I'm just using BAM Online. They don't have like him mic'd up, so unfortunately it's not great. But I'll try to find better, I guess, videos to use in the future. That way the audio is a little bit better. I apologize that it's low like that, and then unfortunately I had it low, so on the stream, so it made it even lower. But real quick, while we got a chance, man, I just want to show you a few plays from this series with Indiana. Them coming out. Looks like they're on their own 10-yard line here. But just kind of how they play. I mean, there's RPO. We talked about the RPO action. We heard from Kane Wommack talking about it. RPO game right here, right? Trying to hit a quick little hitch. Incomplete there. But I just want to show you kind of the series, right, of how this thing kind of looks on what they do, right? They're showing split zone action, but it's RPO. He ends up pulling it, trying to hit a quick hitch right there. They don't connect. Right, that's first down. Now watch where they come with second down, right? You got a 2-by-2 formation. They motion tight end back in. Look what they're doing. Going right back to split zone, right? That was the concept that they just showed the play prior, except it was RPO. Now it's legit split zone action. Nice jump cut by the back. Pick up 8 or 9 yards on the ground. I'll show you from the tight copy. And the reason I'm going fast, guys, because I got to be careful with, the whole, tape thing, even though it's literally the actual tape. I don't know why we still have to worry about that, but all good. Split zone, you talk about execution, man. I mean, look how they block this up. Got the kick out on the 5 technique. Boom. Nice. Look at that hole. Climbing up to Caleb Downs right here, sealing off that backside. Right? I mean, this receiver, I think that's, receiver finishes his block, man, which that's tough. He didn't want to get the hole. Smart by him to pull off of that, but could have been even better. No, not that one. Caleb Downs. Sorry, Caleb's wearing 2. I don't know why I was thinking 0 was Caleb. So you go split zone right there. Now you got quarterback draw. Another big gain. So, like I said, he's not like a dual threat quarterback. I mean, you can just tell by him running, but he's got enough ability where he can run it when he needs to. I mean, he ain't really got no burners on him, but because it's just sped up too. Hey, man, but good pickup. So I just wanted to show you a few plays real quick while we had a second, just because it just shows you how they just execute well. They're not like for lack of better words, it's not some sexy offense that they're doing all these crazy things. But I mean, a lot of split zone, RPO, quarterback draw. They'll take some shots. They do a good job executing it, man. I mean, that's literally what they do. Yeah, mistake-free football, man. They block well. They're physical. Quarterback puts the ball where it needs to be, makes good decisions. I mean, like, that's the best way I can really explain it. Now, this ends up being a pick. Nice job by Ohio State here. Trying to hit a quick tunnel screen. That's tough, though. I mean, because you got the tight end here, the H-back, coming out of the motion, and he's supposed to get this block. Really nice job by, I forgot this cornerback's name, but he's a really good player. He triggers on it immediately. I mean, I don't know what else that other guy's supposed to do right there. He can't really get there. Hip drill. It's no throws, lead the interception. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts, where we're breaking down this Rose Bowl matchup. Alabama taking on number 1 seed Indiana out in California, granddaddy of them all. Just got done listening to a Xavier Brown press conference, but now we go to the phone lines where we're joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, who joins us every Tuesday here on the Miller's Edge. Clint, how was your Christmas, man? Hope everything's been good with you.
My Christmas was great, Christian. Fantastic getting to spend some time with the family. I hope you were able to as well. Now I'm looking forward to Alabama getting back on the field and facing a very good opponent in Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I've been watching a little bit of this tape on the stream today. We watched a little bit more of the defensive side of things for Indiana today. We're watching a little bit more of their offense, but just overall, Clint, I know you watch a lot of tape yourself. I know you've been breaking this game down. We've had, I guess, almost 2 weeks now to kind of look into this matchup. A lot of noise nationally, not necessarily giving Alabama a whole bunch of love in this matchup. And listen, I understand Indiana's a really good football team. Alabama hadn't been playing great until the last 3 quarters of the Oklahoma game, which they actually returned to form, especially offensively. But overall, Clint, when you look at this matchup between Indiana, led by Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Fernando Mendoza, Cignetti, really fundamental team against this Alabama football team who looks healthy, recharged, a little bit, I guess, rejuvenated, so to speak. How do you view it from a surface level?
I think, like you said, I think Indiana's a good football team. I think they're balanced on both sides of the football. When you kind of start to break it down, they stop the run on defense. They can apply pressure. On quarterbacks, they're good at generating turnovers. They're pretty good on the back end. You look at their offense, they're able to run the football with a number of different guys. They're able to throw the football around, got a couple of, potential day 2 draft picks at wide receiver. They got a guy who's probably going to go on day 2 at left tackle. Their starting center's really good. You obviously got the reigning Heisman Trophy winner in Fernando Mendoza that's kind of leading everything, projected to be probably the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft. And they just, what I think Kurt Cignetti has done, because yes, they do have a lot of talent, but I think a lot of that has been development. And I also think from an elevating the lesser than talent around a lot of those guys, I think he's done a fantastic job of not only putting them in a position to be successful, but also creating discipline, creating trust. They play complementary football in a lot of cases. I just think that they're fun to watch. If I'm speaking candidly, with all that being said, I still think Alabama's got a real shot in this football game. You look at certain places. I think that they can. On the right side with Khalil Benson, their starting right tackle. I think he's a pretty good player. Probably, wouldn't be shocked at all if he ends up getting drafted. But I think he's a little bit more vulnerable than Carter Smith on the left side. So I think Alabama has an avenue to generate pretty consistent pressure on Fernando Mendoza if you can earn the right to do it. But I think it all is going to come down for them as far as defensively. Can you stop their run game? Because what they want to do is lean on that run game on early downs. They will throw in some play action stuff, but they really want to run the football and then put themselves in favorable second and third down. And if they're able to do that consistently against Alabama like they have been for a majority of the season, that's really going to put strain on Alabama defensively. But if they can have some success stopping the run, put them in some unfavorable situations, I do think that they can make Fernando Mendoza's life a little bit uncomfortable. He'll make some plays, no doubt about it, but maybe do enough to get to win this football game.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I view it, especially from the defensive side of things, it sounds like a very basic, cliche set of keys, but I think it's really simple in this matchup. You stop the run, you make Fernando Mendoza uncomfortable, you blitz him, you pressure him, you try to force some bad throws, get him off his spot, then you find a way to win the turnover battle. I think that really it's as simple as that, which sounds easier said than done, but still, I think defensively that those should be your keys. But Clint, talk to me a little bit about our offense, right? You said, that, listen, they have a good defense. You're right. I think they're second in the country in tackles for losses, getting after the quarterback. They come up with a lot of sacks. They do a nice job with a lot of different pressure packages. They disguise well. They're very fundamentally sound. Do you feel that Alabama, whose offense I would say in the last 3 quarters in that Oklahoma game, has the ability to continue that trend that we saw then and carry that over into this matchup, which is much needed? Because to me, I think a lot of this is going to boil down to, I just don't think you magically come up with the running game all of a sudden, but I think Ty Simpson and those receivers have to find that connection that they had against Oklahoma. Do you think they can reestablish that and recreate that against an Indiana football team who is really good across the board, where they're stopping the run, getting after the quarterback, but also forcing turnovers, coming up with a total of 25, I believe?
I do think Alabama can have some success against them defensively. I really do. I understand on paper there's not a whole lot that's favoring Alabama. They typically like to bring 5. They haven't really consistently applied pressure when only sending 4. Whether it be Hardy at off-ball linebacker, Aiden Fisher, they got a guy that rotates in quite a bit, Isaiah Jones. Between those 3 players, they have accumulated 56 pressures and 13 quarterback hits. And that kind of tells you everything you need to know about how often they are sending those second-level defenders and trying to add a 5th body as far as the pass rush. And they're effective at it. But, as you understand, you only got 11 bodies on the field. So the more you're bringing, if you're running cover 3 behind it or cover 2, those underneath defenders, when you're eliminating one of them or bringing one of them, you're taking somebody out of coverage. And just the way that Ty Simpson has been so effective against zone coverage when he has the understanding, and if he can get into a rhythm and kind of do some of the things that we saw him start to do again against Oklahoma, I do think that he can find the soft spots and Alabama's receivers can make some plays in order to help them move the football. And not only that, but I was thinking about this Alabama run game, and I'm not sitting there saying it's going to be a world beater all of a sudden. But I think especially in the second half, I really feel like Daniel Hill started to play like a 244-pound running back. I think he started running behind the shoulder pads a little bit more, showed a little bit more physicality. I think getting Jam Miller more healthy. He did handle 7 carries, but it only went for 11 yards against Oklahoma. I think Daniel Hill, from a conditioning standpoint, I've kind of been concerned about him being like the lone guy out there because, he hadn't played a ton of snaps. He's a bigger body guy. But I think getting Jam back to being closer to 100%, having Kevin Riley potentially available to handle those RB3 roles, I do think it's possible that not only do you get that physical style from Daniel Hill, but maybe you get more production from Jam Miller. I think the offensive line has really started to come together. Against Oklahoma, guys were available, and they were a lot closer to 100%, but the Cam Dewberrys, the Parker Brailsfords, the Geno Vandermarks, there were still some lingering problems. And being 11, 12, 13 days later, hopefully that does enough to have Alabama's interior offensive line a lot closer to 100%. So when I look at this game, not only do I think Ty Simpson can have some success, but kind of one of my bold predictions, and it's one that a lot of people aren't going to agree with, and I'm certainly going to hear about it if I'm wrong, and I will own it if I'm wrong. But just for some reason, I think the way that Alabama has done, really improved as far as stopping the run on defense, and the fact that I actually think this could be one of those games, kind of like Missouri, where everybody said Alabama can't run the football themselves. Missouri's one of the best rushing offenses, not only in the SEC, but in all of college football with Ahmad Hardy. Alabama's running backs outproduced them in that football game. I know that Indiana has a much stronger complementary passing game with Fernando Mendoza, no doubt about it. But part of me just thinks that we're going to see something similar where, surprisingly, Alabama ends up outrushing Indiana and having more success. Once again, not being dominant, but I think it would more so be that, Indiana isn't quite as effective as some people think they're going to be going against Alabama's defense. And then on top of that, Alabama being a little bit more effective, moving the football on the ground, I do think they can have some success, whether it be through the air or on the ground. Not saying they're going to have their way with Indiana by any means. I just think that maybe we're underestimating this Alabama offense if you continue to get what you saw from them in the last three quarters against Oklahoma.
Wow. So you have them potentially out-rushing Indiana. That's interesting. How do you see that taking place, Clint? I mean, do you think just because I know we run a lot of pin and pull, and I said this a few weeks ago, and you've seen it time and time again. I mean, that's our best running play, running on the perimeter. We've struggled running between the tackles, whether it's gap scheme, counter, even duo or inside zone. I feel like haven't been great for us. I mean, do you feel like those types of runs between the tackles also are going to be there, or do you think it's more of us leaning into the perimeter, or even the extensions? When you say you feel like we outrush them, how do you feel like that ends up transpiring?
Well, I do think perimeter is going to be a pretty key part of that. And granted, they got some dudes, man. I mean, you look at their nickel, Devin Boykin. I mean, that guy's a great run defender, and he gets after you. He's not super big, 5'10", about 195 pounds. D'Angelo Pons is built like a nickel at 5'9", I think 173. Not really, super big, but he plays bigger than his size would indicate. He's very competitive. He's very scrappy. But, I look at Vanderbilt from a numbers perspective, when Alabama played them, it really seemed like they had a much improved run defense. Jam Miller ended up having 136 yards on 22 carries. Against Missouri the next week on the road in a hostile environment, 20 carries for 85 yards. Against Auburn, really think we finally started to see that version of Jam Miller a little bit again, 15 carries for 83 yards. So I think to an extent it's going to be Jam Miller being healthy, being able to contribute to that, being able to move Daniel Hill. It wasn't like he was seeing 20-plus carries. It's more of the number of snaps he was being asked to play. Obviously, in the one game against Georgia in the SEC Championship where Jam Miller wasn't available, he saw career-high snaps because they had A.K. Deer kind of rotating with him because they didn't have Kevin Riley available. So, I'm looking at Daniel Hill moving, it being a 1A, 1B type of situation. Daniel Hill starting to figure some things out, starting to figure out, man, I'm 244 pounds. Maybe I should use this a little bit more. Putting his shoulders down and taking the fight to defenders. It's not that he wasn't doing that, previous. I just think that something about that Oklahoma game, it really felt like something started to click for him. And so I think between Wilkin Formby at right guard and Michael Carter at right tackle, the fact that you're getting other guys more healthy, you've had another couple of weeks to really get that unit gelled and healthy. I think that I'm not saying they're going to have a ton of success. I more so look at it and say, when Alabama, something about the challenge, Kane Womack loves it. And he even answered when asked about going against Fernando Mendoza and being the Heisman Trophy winner, does that add a chip? And he said, we want to stop any quarterback, but it certainly does because he loves the challenge of it. I love that answer because it feels like whenever the defense is presented with a challenge, he embraces it. He doesn't shy away from it, and he's excited. Doesn't mean he's always going to have success, but he's excited for the opportunity to get to go against, that type of player or that type of team. And when I think back to that Missouri game and the fact that everybody just thought that Missouri was going to run all over Alabama, and Alabama came out fired up, they had a lot of success, a great game plan for attacking Ahmad Hardy. Now, granted, they're a little bit more heavy outside zone, wide zone, compared to Indiana, who's going to be a very zone-heavy team, but they also are going to be more inside zone. So it's going to be a little bit more between the tackles. But between getting L.T. Overton back, Tim Keenan, obviously the way he's been playing, James Smith can be a game wrecker. The second level, I think, from a run fit standpoint, they've made improvement. I just think that they're going to be able to have more success against Indiana's run game than a lot of people think that they will. And if they're able to do that and limit the chunk gains, which has been by far the biggest Achilles heel as far as the run defense, then, it's not that the offense has to be world beaters as far as running the football. It's just a matter of kind of similar to that Missouri game, figuring out a way to end up having just slightly more production. I don't think we're going to exit this game saying, man, Alabama's run game was incredible and Indiana's was awful. I just think it might be a little bit more balanced and even than a lot of people are thinking going in. Now, granted, I understand that's very against the grain thinking right now going in. So I understand it's a very bold take, and it's one of those where I'm certainly going to hear it again if I'm wrong. But like with anything else, if I am wrong, I'll own it because, if you're going to put your name to something, definitely always own it.
Absolutely. No, I know. I hear what you're saying though, and to be fair, you mentioned this. The guys coming back from injuries, or even just the guys that were banged up that might not necessarily been on injury reports that you might not have, you know what I mean, known they're dealing with some stuff. They've had ample amount of time to get healthier, and I would imagine these guys feel better than ever. You combine that with, like you mentioned, the challenge ahead. I do expect us to come out swinging and to probably play better than we've seen us play in the past several weeks or so, and I hope that that is the case. We're joined by Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson, who joins us every Tuesday. Make sure you guys check out all his good work if you haven't already, at Clint R Lamb on X, at Cover Crimson on YouTube, and all their social media platforms as well. Clint, if you had to summarize your keys to this game, what Alabama has to do, if there was maybe 3 or 4 things, and I know you hit on all of it, but if you had to just throw out 3 or 4 main points for our listeners that might just be tuning in, what Alabama has to do to beat Indiana, the number 1 seed, to advance in the college football playoffs, what would those 3 or 4 keys be?
Well, I don't think that you have to say run the football on offense. Now, granted, if the weather, limits the passing game, then you got to figure out how to have some production on offense. So maybe it becomes a much bigger key. But I think the weather is going to be, there might be some spurts where it gets rocky, but I don't think it's going to be a consistent thing. So I think that both offenses are going to have their opportunities to kind of operate as they normally would. But as far as stopping the run, I think you have to do it. I think the more that you can put Fernando Mendoza in uncomfortable situations, the better off you're going to be. Now, granted, when you go into the other side of the football, as far as running it or trying to have any sort of offensive success, one of the things I'll give Indiana a lot of credit for is, man, they know how to, work their way around blocks. Their off-ball linebacker, Aiden Fisher, who I think is probably going to end up being like a 4th-round pick or maybe a 3rd-round pick. I like his game. He is able to elude blocks as well as anybody I've seen on tape. He's not really this huge, big stack and shed guy. If you can get your hands on him, I still think he's a good player, but I think his ability to avoid blocks and things like that has really made him an effective player. Alabama, on the other hand, especially with their offensive line, their tight ends, they've had an inability to sustain blocks. So across the board, it's not just Aiden Fisher. Really, it's their front 7 that's been pretty good at it. You've got to figure out a way to get your hands on these guys and then maintain or hang on to your block as long as you can. I think if they can do that, they can, certainly have some success. But I think, anytime that it comes down to the special teams battle, the turnover battle, you always want to win those things. Alabama has been, or Indiana, has been very clean as far as turning the football over, but they will, every once in a while, they'll give you an opportunity. Force them to give you one if you can. Capitalize if you get those opportunities, and try if you can, because Indiana has spent such a large amount of time off, close to a month. I think that there could be some rust there. Now, it's not going to be a 4 quarters thing. It might be the first quarter, might be first couple of quarters. But if you can, being the more polished team going in as far as more recently played, if you can jump out on Indiana and really put them, because I'll go ahead and tell you, whether you're talking about Iowa or Oregon or Penn State or Ohio State, like all these games where maybe they've struggled, I have not seen Indiana down by more than 3 or 4 points at any point this season. Now, I might be wrong on that as far as one of these blowouts. Maybe the team got up on them early, but as far as the games that have been close that I've paid attention to, I haven't seen it. And so if you can somehow use the advantage that you have played more recently, might not have that rust to jump out and maybe sort of create some sort of early lead. I mean, maybe Indiana doesn't respond all that great to that. So it's these kind of things that I'm thinking about. But I can see this going in a number of different directions. There's going to be a lot of factors. But for anybody that's really not giving Alabama much of a chance, I completely disagree. Doesn't mean they'll win, but I think it's going to be a really fun game, and I'm certainly looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's going to be one of those close games. I thought 6.5, 7 points sounded a little too much, given that when this Alabama team is clicking, which I understand, that's been a little rare over the last month and a half or so, at least offensively. Man, I mean, I feel like we can play with anybody, and I feel like we're capable of really winning it all. The problem is, how do we find a way to do that consistently, and how do we know that's the version of Alabama that we see, show up in the Rose Bowl against Indiana? So I do understand that piece, but I do feel confident, like you just said. I mean, if Alabama plays their A game, I mean, without a doubt, they're capable of beating this Indiana team, who nobody has beaten at this point. To be fair, they are a good football team, but I think Alabama does have what it takes. They just have to find a way to execute. Real quick, Clint, I want to get your thoughts on something else. Now we've talked about the Rose Bowl. Early enrollees have arrived. I know there was an open practice for the media before they left. Any initial thoughts on some of these early enrollees, Clint? I know you probably got – if you didn't, I know maybe EG got a chance to go check them out. But any early enrollee thoughts? I know Cedarian Morgan's a big one that a lot of people have been talking about. Quarterback Tamala, a lot of people are excited to see him. Bigger quarterback, man. He definitely looks all of 6'4", 220-ish. Anybody stand out to you so far?
I think it's great that they've gotten these guys on campus and then are allowing them to take part in practice. I think from just getting the guys acclimated, a lot of times the early enrollees at spring football where they kind of get shell-shocked a little bit, and it's not until really the summer and really into fall camp where they start getting comfortable and can start to roll, which is why a lot of people say, like, if you don't enroll early, you kind of put yourself in a position where that shock is happening in fall camp, and so it's very tough to overcome. Well, these guys that are already getting to practice some, they're getting acclimated. To me, I think the spring for those guys can be even more of an opportunity to learn and grow because you've kind of gotten over that, at least to some extent. And so with Jet Tomala, I know Cedarian Morgan's already on campus, Jordan Edmonds, I believe Xavier Griffin. Like, these are all very highly touted, highly talented players who I think could end up helping Alabama. Maybe not Jet Tomlin because you've only got one quarterback, but between Cedarian Morgan, Jordan Edmonds, and Xavier Griffin, I think you've got 3 5-star players who all could end up making an impact, whether it be in the rotation or it be, potentially even taking a starting job. It won't be easy for the starting jobs, but Xavier Griffin is one that I'm really excited about. I was thinking about him and Justin Hill and the versatility that both of those guys bring to the table. You got one that's probably going to be playing really as an off-ball linebacker. You can move around and put him on the edge, kind of like John Campbell. You got Justin Hill who can play on the ball. He can play off the ball. Just the chess pieces there. And then adding guys like Jamarian Matthews and Nolan Wilson, having some inside-out versatility and can play and do different things for you. I just think that what they're doing from adding length and adding versatility to their defense is going to be fantastic. And then for a guy like, Morgan, just on the offensive side, while Isaiah Horton has certainly added some sort of length element, I think just the crazy ball-winning ability of Morgan, he brings that size element where he is just a dominant, catch point receiver. And so having that in the offense, I think could certainly help as well, whether it be in a rotational role or whatever in 2026. So hopefully he's able to get on campus and learn the offense, and they can get him involved because I certainly think he can be a big-time help to Alabama, in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way they've been able to assess talent and recruit over the last, I guess, year and a half since they've gotten here has been very positive, whether it's guys like Latzia Brooks, Justin Hill, like you mentioned, Michael Carroll, a number of these players, man, have been really good players. Not all of them are, big 5-star prospects. So shout out to this staff for being able to, have an eye for that talent. Real quick, last question, I promise, Clint. I just want to get your thoughts on this real quick because we were talking about it yesterday, and I'm curious what you think about this. Cam Coleman, Auburn wide receiver, enters the transfer portal. Just real quick, I don't see it happening just because I'm sure he's probably going to be demanding probably north of $1 million and probably close to $2 million. But any chance you think he ends up in Tuscaloosa? And then I guess the second question is, speaking of additions, you think we go after anybody like maybe an offensive tackle? And if so, I mean, do you see that maybe happening? Because to me, I think if we're not going to go after, which I don't think we should go after a guy like Cam Coleman, it's too expensive. We already got plenty of money invested there, but I think tackle could be a position. I think there's several guys in the portal that could be of help. Do you think that ends up being something that we see Alabama does in the transfer portal?
I definitely think so. Now, Cam Coleman, I just think that they've already probably allotted quite a bit of money to that wide receiver position, and they're very disciplined in that. They're not going to stray outside of what they have allotted. And you got to think, I mean, I know that Cedarian Morgan isn't a guy who necessarily you would expect to step on campus as a true freshman and be this star player. But I guarantee you, while I know he really wanted to be in Tuscaloosa, I'm sure they took care of him from a financial perspective. So that's another one you talk about. I know Jerry Bernard's leaving. Maybe you lose Isaiah Horton. I've seen some people say that's a possibility. You never know what's going to happen with Ryan Williams. I think he's going to be back in Tuscaloosa. But if certain things happened and a lot of funds at that position came available, maybe you could see them pursuing him. But I think you're spot on. I think tackle is by far the biggest one, in my opinion. I think that is something that even, and granted, you also got to understand this staff is very disciplined in how they approach NIL. The second you cross into that bidding war threshold, there's too many overlapping agents. There's too many kids that talk amongst these players. I mean, you're going to get in the future, if you go and try to swing for the fences on a guy like Cam Coleman, just as a luxury, just because he's a good player that might want to play for you. I mean, from that point forward, you start dealing with some of these agents or some of these players, and it's like, well, hey, you were willing to pay him this. Why aren't you willing to pay me that? You must not want me as bad as you wanted him. Like, it's just once you cross that threshold, it's very difficult to come back, and everybody wants a piece of it. And I think Alabama's done a great job of giving guys respectable offers, but being firm to it. If they want to go elsewhere, if you want to lose a Tank Jones or somebody like that, we have a number that we're willing to hit. It's going to be in the ballpark, and it's going to be a respectable number, but that's it for us. I think that if with the connections that we've seen from him up to this point, Texas A&M are the teams that people are talking about. I don't think it's going to be a bidding. I don't think Alabama's going to be involved in that. But I think tackle is going to be one where maybe they do try to spend a little bit. I think they could go after some affordable positions where you can get really strong quality players at a much more affordable price, like off-ball linebacker from an experience standpoint. I love the options, but I would love an experienced option in there to go with them. Running back potentially, but once again, all like the CJ Baxters and stuff, I'm not on board with that. I think between Crowell, A.K. Deere, and then Daniel Hill, I think maybe you bring in a Draylon Washington type of player that can end up helping you. Maybe you end up hitting on that. It's a good evaluation, but you're really not banking on it necessarily. But just to add experience to that room after losing some guys. And then on the defensive side, going back to it, maybe the defensive line is a possibility. I think they're in much better shape on the defensive line than people think. And then while I'm very encouraged by Connor Talty and how he's progressed, I still wouldn't be shocked unless he just has a phenomenal game against Indiana, a game-winning field goal, 56-yarder or something. I wouldn't be shocked if they went out and at least added some level of competition for him. Will it be the reigning Lou Groza Award winner like it was a couple of years ago? Probably not. But I do think that they at least add somebody where if you continue to have any of those struggles, you're not kind of left as him being your only option. Those would be the main positions I would be looking at if I was Alabama.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, man. Definitely off-ball linebacker, I said. I mean, losing all three guys, you definitely want to have, even if it's just a veteran presence, man, somebody, which without a doubt. If they didn't do that, I mean, I would be completely shocked. Clint, man, I appreciate you hanging on. I know I kept you a little long today. There's so much to talk about, and nice to catch up with you, man. Before I let you go, as always, man, plug your stuff. Let everybody know how they can keep up with all the great work that you're doing, brother.
Absolutely, Christian. I appreciate you having me on. Always have a great time talking with you. You can find me on Twitter at Clint R. Lamb. Got the YouTube channel Cover Crimson. Wherever you listen to your podcast, search the Cover Crimson Podcast Network. And we got another special kind of announcement coming fairly soon on that front. So definitely, even if you follow the YouTube channel, the new stuff is going to be exclusively through podcast forms. So Apple, Spotify, once again, the Cover Crimson Podcast Network. Go ahead and go download it or subscribe or whatever you want to call it to make sure you're up to date on all that stuff. Once again, Christian, appreciate you as always. Have me on, brother.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure, Clint. We appreciate you, man. Hopefully we can talk a big dub next time we get you on here.
Absolutely, man. Good talking to you, brother.
Yes, sir. You too, man. Take care. Good deal. That's our buddy Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson. You heard him, man. Make sure you guys go check out all their stuff. He said he got a big announcement, so stay tuned for that. I know all you guys already listen to Clint, man. He does a great job, but if you haven't checked his stuff out, make sure you guys do that at Cover Crimson on all platforms, especially YouTube and, like you mentioned, podcast networks, and his personal, his X account at Clint R. Lamb. Again, does a really good job. Breakdowns, information, as you guys just heard, man. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to all this stuff, man. He's definitely got a really, really bright future in terms of covering the sport, man. So big thanks to him for joining us and always being generous with his time on Tuesdays as he joins us right here on the Miller's Edge. We got to hit a timeout, catch back up. When we come back, we keep on rolling. 205-342-9904 is the number. We got a couple of phone calls so we'll get to, plus some app messages and more, and some tape. Of course, we always like diving into tape. We'll do all that when we come back right here on the Miller's Edge. Todd 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right. Over 1,300 players set to hit the portal Friday. Good God Almighty! You know what's crazy, and a lot of people don't necessarily talk about this. I think some people just assume that like everybody that hits the portal is going to get picked up or find a new landing spot, but it doesn't work like that. There's some guys that don't get picked up, man. They end up out here scrambling and searching. So, what does your hat say? My hat says Dale Tide. It's basically roll tide in Spanish. Basically, it's like let's go tide. Dale means like let's go, but it was the smoothest translation. The direct translation way too long and it didn't doesn't flow. So I got it made. Long story short, I've been learning Spanish for about 2 years now. Little over 2 years. Like I think 2 years. I think November made 2 years. But anyway, it's something I'm passionate about. I don't know, man. I fell into it, man. I grew up. I had friends that spoke Spanish. I used to play soccer and played on some, Mexican soccer teams, and I've always wanted to learn another language. So I started learning Spanish a little over 2 years ago, man. So I wanted to merge the two, Spanish, Alabama football. Just thought it was cool. But it's been a hit though. A lot of people, even though they don't really don't really know what it means, they're just like, "Oh shoot, that means roll tide in Spanish." Hell yeah, I want one. So I don't know. Maybe I'll start making them. I got to get more Miller's Edge hats made too. I got some back there. I need to show you guys. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me show you. See what you guys think. This is our most recent one I had, but I don't know if you guys would be interested in stuff like this. Just let me know, or even one of these, like the Dolly Tide hats. I don't know. Thinking about starting to do more stuff like that. Hadn't in a while, but 2026 price is going up to retain players. Oh yeah, I mean, it's the market, man. It's the market. Matter of fact, let me just show you guys this real quick. I promise I'll get back to that tape, but I saw this because we were talking about the whole Cam Coleman thing yesterday. This was according to that On3 article that they put out. I don't know if you guys can read that. You probably can't, but what it says is Auburn wide receiver Cam Coleman announced Monday morning he intends to enter the transfer portal. Coleman made over $1 million this fall at Auburn, and he's expected to command close to the $2 million mark in the portal. Sorry, I don't know why my dog is barking. Maybe he didn't like the fact that Cam Coleman's demanding $2 million. Hold on, give me 1 second while I get him. Sorry. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. All right, we just got done chopping up with Clint Lamb and Cover Crimson again. If you guys missed it, just rewind the stream, or you can always go back and listen to the show wherever you get your podcasts from. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff, man. Always enjoy chopping it up with Clint, man. He did a really good job breaking down this game. So if you missed it, just go back and you can catch that. But I put this on the screen real quick on the stream because we talked a little bit about this yesterday. In our last, I guess, question to Clint was about transfer portal. He agrees with me. Price probably a little too high to be targeting a guy like Cam Coleman. And here are the numbers that I went out and found. So allegedly, Cam Coleman made over $1 million at Auburn last year. Yes, over $1 million. And it says he's expected to probably demand in the ballpark of almost the $2 million mark. So for anybody that was probably wondering, hey, man, are we going to be able to grab Cam Coleman? Well, I think that might be your answer. Not saying it can't happen, but Chase, we talked about having to shuffle some funds around. I mean, Courtney Morgan would have his hands full trying to figure out, how to, I guess, allocate that money, because let me put this back on the screen. This was the report I was looking for yesterday for our radio listeners that can't see the screen. It's a graphic of Ryan Williams, and it has the number 1.8 M below. Very big. Now, again, we don't pocket watch on this show. It's not my business what they make, but this is just for the reference of, managing the team, I guess. This says, and this was from On3, it says Alabama wide receiver set to make north of $1.8 million a season, second most in college football for wide receivers. Now, that's according to On3. I don't know the validity of it. I don't know the accuracy of it. Hell, I don't even know if that's like from the revenue sharing piece, like from the university itself, or that includes his personal endorsements. I don't know. All I do know is if you have a guy making that already and you got another guy that's going to be demanding about that instead of around $2 million, no way in hell in college football you have $4 million on just two players at the same position. Maybe on two players, yes. But two players at the same position, both being wide receivers, it ain't happening. So Tia says, I heard those values be inaccurate. Trust me, I think they are too. But there's probably some truth in some of it. The point is he clearly is making a lot of money. He's clearly one of the highest paid receivers. You already got one of them on your team. I just don't think, and when I say I don't think you can afford it, I'm not saying you like exactly you can't afford it, like we don't have the money to do it, but I just think in terms of like the way the model works and trying to make sure everybody's good, I just don't think it happens. I mean, what do you think, Chase? I mean, I got the graphics pulled up. Now we have some numbers to work with. Do you still feel like there's a green light on Cam Coleman, or now that you see the numbers, you're having a little, I don't know, second thought?
Second thoughts for sure. That's crazy work, Christian. Yeah, we can just stick to other positions that would still add the value to the team. Like you said yesterday, linebackers. That's a lot of linebacking core being gone. A lot of production on defense, offensive linemen, like you said. I didn't really think too much about that. And then someone mentioned Isaiah Horton potentially coming back. So I don't really see him going to the draft because I feel like he's getting more confident as the season progresses. And I feel like he's becoming that guy that we can depend on and will be huge for next season. But yeah, Cam Coleman, he was great for Auburn. No, he was amazing for Auburn. But I feel like with the wide receiver production we have this season and what next year could be like, we wouldn't really be in a hurting position if we didn't get Coleman.
Yeah. No, and listen, I think receiver room wise, I think we're in really solid shape. I mean, guys, we got Ryan Williams. So I know again, he's having a little bit of a struggle this year, but don't forget, I mean, the guy is very talented. And best believe, I promise you, as a competitor, even if this year, say he doesn't even finish on the right foot, I promise you that dude's going to go to work this offseason. I guarantee you he's going to be set up to have himself quite the year next year. Best believe that. Ryan Williams will return to form at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this week. I don't know if it's not going to be until the middle of the season next year, but I promise you that dude has so much talent that he will be good. He will be good. So you got him. You got Latsier Brooks, Isaiah Horton, right? Good chance he comes back. He's a good player. Derek Meadows looks to be a good football player. Sedarian Morgan, a lot of people are excited about him. Rico Scott and some other these guys that are developing behind the scenes. I think we're fine in that department, really. Definitely would rather invest in the trenches like offensive line play or even, off-ball linebacker. Without a doubt, you need that. But again, didn't want to bring that up to pocket watch. It's just after the show yesterday when I was looking for all these things, I found them and I was like, well, damn, there's those numbers we needed yesterday when we were talking about it. There we go. So I just wanted to throw those numbers at you guys and let you guys form an opinion based off of that information now that you see that, because I think it kind of puts it into perspective. But here's one thing, Chase, that I don't quite understand. While I understand the market will be going up, and I talked about that yesterday, it's inevitable. It always happens, whether, whatever sport it is, department, whatever, inflation, this and that, the market resets, somebody gets paid. He's the new highest paid person. The next person becomes that, especially in sports. However, in the NFL, the salary cap is always changing. right? You know, the salary cap naturally, you know, goes up. But here's the thing, Chase. In college, there's not a salary cap, but you have like the max number you can contribute with the NIL revenue sharing. That's not going up. So these values are going up, but that number is not changing. So like, where are they going to come up with this money? My point is that if the money for a top receiver a year ago was 1 million and now it's 2 million, that's all, you know, having to fit underneath the umbrella of the $20.5 million that they're allotted. That part I don't understand. Now, I'm not dumb. I do know they still are finding ways to add more NIL value outside of the revenue sharing. But to me, I still don't understand how they're finding ways to necessarily do it to that extent. You know, to a small degree, sure. But you know, big numbers, all this is supposed to be being passed through the NIL Go or the clearinghouse thing. Whatever happened to that? Hell, I have no idea. I'm wondering it myself. But just I guess something to think about. But again, at this point, there's no guidelines. It's a mess.
I was just about to say that, Christian. I was going to ask you quickly with the
Yeah.
20.5 you mentioned. Do you think that's going to have to be increased eventually too? Now that you know, like a wide receiver is getting X amount of money, quarterbacks are going to start barking up that tree for more money because 20.5 at this rate, it's not going to be enough. I say in 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 years, maybe. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
great question. Yeah, no, and that's what I'm getting at, brother. I mean, like, it has to. I mean, because if you get to the point where a top receiver is $2 million, quarterback already went from 1.5, 2, and now quarterbacks are going upwards, you know, $4 million. That alone, you're at around $5+ million just for two players, for the quarterback and the top receiver. And again, that 20.5 million or $20.5 million, that is not just football. That includes all sports. You get what I'm saying? So, like, to me, that doesn't make sense. The money is coming from other places. Listen, it honestly, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. I seriously question how the NCAA went from we couldn't be, you know, bought a hot dog by a booster at a flag football game, and that's illegal, and all of a sudden they're just letting all this stuff flow in, and they act like they don't have other ways to figure it out. And I get it, you know, different states have different. In some states, NIL is legal for high school players, and others it's not. I get it; it's not necessarily that easy, but at the same time, I feel like they overcomplicate some of these things. I personally do. That said, man, listen, one of the worst things that we're dealing with right now is the fact that, and I was talking about this over the holidays, man. The way things are, I feel bad because the players get a lot of this blame, Chase, but a lot of the times, really, it's the parents, man. It's the parents, it's the coaches, the high school coaches, the trainers, the uncles. It's all these people, Chase, that are going in these offices of these coaches or calling these coaches, and they're demanding. They're demanding, hey, my kid, he's doing this, or my player, he's this, he deserves this, or these agents, right? I mean, like, it's bad. And what's sad is a lot of these players, you know, like they catch heat, like the fans, they're mad at these guys. And ultimately, I guess, you know, they can kind of make decisions for themselves. But at the same time, think about how tough it would be for a young guy who say their parents need some stuff or and they're like, hey, son, you better, you know, if they don't pay you more, you're leaving. That kid might not even or probably doesn't even want to leave, but he's got parents forcing it. You got parents demanding things. Like, brother, I'm just telling you, if you guys could it's like if you could sit behind the scenes and know how crazy this thing gets, oh man, it would change your perspective. But that's another topic for a whole nother day. And we got plenty more to talk about regarding the Rose Bowl, even though we're kind of winding down on time. So we'll save that. We'll pack that one up. But looks like there's some breaking news. Allegedly, Deuce Knight, yet another Auburn football player, is now in the portal. So, Chase, we called it an exodus yesterday, mass exodus. Chase, this is I mean, this might be beyond that, bro.
Yeah.
Like listen, I hold on. I think I have this. This was from yesterday. This is all the Auburn transfers, real quick. I know we're getting sidetracked, but I mean, this is worth talking about. Literally, these are all the guys transferring out. This is their portal tracker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. And now it looks like 28 is Deuce Knight, one of their, key quarterback recruits from last season, a guy who had a lot of promise, a guy who came in at the end of the season, played because they were trying to save the red shirt of Ashton, what's his name, quarterback, Ashton Daniels, who I want to say he's also leaving, if I remember correctly. Claims Jackson Arnold's also out. Now Deuce Knight. I mean, at this point, I don't know whether the administration said, hell, burn it all down and rebuild, or I don't know what the hell this Golish guy just went in and said, but I'll just tell you, it's one thing if you want to completely reset and rebuild, but as you saw, like when Coach Saban left, you still should have some like cornerstone pieces, some guys with some pride to like hunker down and say, no, we're going to help. And I don't see none of that crap going on. So I'll be honest, and I'm not speaking like this because it's Auburn. I'll be honest with you. I don't take the beef as serious as some other people. I just don't know much about Auburn in terms of like what goes on. I don't have a whole bunch of connections there. But to me, something is like, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've seen this at this extent, because he's in like when we lost a lot of guys, they also were, I hate to say like this, a lot of the guys that entered the portal. That's why I also don't necessarily agree all the time when people make it seem like Coach DeBoer started with like nothing, because a lot of the guys that did leave the portal were a lot of backups. Yeah, we did lose a Caleb Downs, a potential starter at corner, and Amos, and several other players. Don't get me wrong, center. I get it, we did, but to be fair, I would say probably 50% at least, maybe 60% really were more like backup guys. You look at this list, Chase, I mean, they're losing a lot of starters / their key, players, like key depth players, or guys that were expected to step up and be, significant contributers. I mean, they really are starting from zero. So I don't know what's going on there, but I do know if you're Courtney Morgan and you need some depth at a couple positions, I'm sure a lot of these guys are in-state guys. I'm sure a lot of these guys were recruited by Alabama. We might have some War Eagle on this roster here coming up. So I don't know. We'll have to keep track with this. But let's do this. Let's hit a timeout. We got an at message from Tia. We come back. We'll discuss that real quick. Worst case, I'll stay on the stream a little bit longer to watch some more tape with you guys, since we didn't get a chance to do it as much as I'd probably like to. And we'll kind of roll from there. But we'll do all that when we come back after this quick timeout right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art sport experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Tis the season for holidays on the Plaza. The city of Tuscaloosa's favorite outdoor ice skating rink is back and better than ever. Make magical memories with a...
Yeah, and that list might not even be fully updated. Sorry, I'm all over the place, man. I'm like letting the dog out, bring him back in. Matter of fact, I got to go back and let him back in because it's so cold outside. It's trying to come back here and talk, get water, man. I'm all over the place. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, guys. It's interesting. I mean, like, I get players leave when a coach leaves, but like, I think if this doesn't go to show you anything, I think, to me, I interpret it like this. One is, the fact that a lot of guys, I say a lot of guys because, yes, we had a lot of people leave, but we also had a lot of core players stay and have faith in Coach DeBoer and have faith in what Greg Byrne and everybody was telling them and guiding them through with this whole situation. But I think it's a testament that Alabama, especially in this day and age with NIL, and I'm not saying, we're perfect. I'm not saying this or that. But what I am saying is we've gotten things figured out a lot better than a lot of other schools. And I think that's why the foundation is so important. Nowadays where everybody's turning to, hey, just, handing out blank checks just to get as many good players as we can get, establishing your foundation and your core is still so important, right? Because that's your culture. That's what your football team is. And I don't care how far we get into this NIL space. At the end of the day, football still will come down to, yes, it's about Jimmys and Joes, without a doubt, but you still have to have some type of culture, foundation, and system. That's why you see a team like Indiana, who doesn't have the Jimmys and Joes that some of these other teams have, be the number one ranked seed. That stuff still matters. And I think this is an example of, not saying Auburn doesn't have it, but when you lose everybody like this, when a new coach comes in, to me, it kind of feels like these guys were probably there because they were just getting paid a lot of money. It wasn't so much for the culture, so to speak. And again, that's not me just trying to take a shot at Auburn. Again, I promise you guys, I'm not one of those people that just, kick them every time I can. I mean, I get it, the rivalry, but me personally, I'm not doing that right here. I'm just genuinely saying this is what it looks like. It's like a lot of guys are probably just getting paid a lot of money. New dude comes in, they're just kind of like, man, I'm gonna go get some more money. Seems like they're missing like that. Hey, man, we want to stay here because we came to play at the University of Auburn. I'm not seeing that, like we saw with a lot of guys at the University of Alabama. Even though they had every right to, they committed. Like, let's be honest, they committed to Alabama, but they really committed to Coach Saban. They wanted to be coached by Coach Saban. But a lot of those guys trusted the process, and I feel like it's worked out well for a lot of people that stayed. So, man, kind of crazy, but we'll see what what ends up happening for us.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And we're back on this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick couple minutes before we hang things up on the radio side of things. I'll probably stay on a couple more minutes. Maybe. It does feel like I need to I feel like I probably need to call the AC service. So I think it got so cold here, Chase. It's kind of knocked my heating out or something, because I was like doing the show. I just kept getting, I don't know if you guys noticed, I'm over here like crossing my arms and stuff. People are probably like, why are you sitting like that? Started getting a little cold in here. I'm like, hold on, man. So yeah, probably need to check on that. But let's wrap things up here in a second. We got an app message from Tia. Let's go ahead and hear what she has to say on there, Chase.
You got it, Christian. She said, I agree with Clint that Alabama can attack their right tackle, and I also believe we can have success against their right guard. Those two offensive linemen allow the most hurries, with the right tackle first and the right guard second. We also need to be prepared for their run-pass option quick slants, which make me wonder if we should play more man coverage. If you take away the quarterback's primary read, he's cooked. Offensively, I want us to get the ball to the edge. I don't care if it's screen passes, jet sweeps, or toss plays, but we need to stress them horizontally. Indiana is a sound football team, but they definitely have exploitable weaknesses. From Tia down in California.
Yeah, really well said. Yeah, and I'll say this. I mean, I think pin and pull, perimeter stuff, I think you definitely want to try to attack that. I mean, between the tackles, they do a really nice job on the line of scrimmage, those guys. They do. Linebackers are aggressive. You see them plug and fit guys in there, right? I mean, there's a reason I think their linebackers have accounted for it's like 13 or 17 sacks. My point is they're really aggressive there. So I think there could be some opportunities horizontally for sure. In terms of playing some man coverage, listen, that was one of the main adjustments we made against Oklahoma into this matchup. Typically, and I listen, it made sense. I think when you talk about a guy like Jackson Arnold, who has that dual threat ability, not a burner by any means, but he will carry the football. He will use his legs. You just got to be, I wouldn't say cautious, I don't like that word, but you just have to be smart when you're playing a bunch of man coverage, because that means everybody's backs are turned. So if he's not contained, you're providing some areas for him to escape, right? And he can make plays with his legs. So I understand why we probably went into that game wanting to play more zone like that. However, we adjusted, we adapted, we played more man coverage. And I think what it showed me is we have the guys to do it, which we already knew that. We have a lot of talent, but they've gone out there and proved it. I would argue that I wouldn't say Indiana has good players, but I wouldn't say their skill guys are, maybe if you're going against, I don't know, who's got maybe the best receiver room in the country, whoever that you might claim that group is. Maybe you want to mix it up a little bit more. You don't want to have your guys a man the whole time. But with this group, I think they're capable to play a lot of man coverage. And I think it'd be solid. I think, listen, and I wouldn't say only do that. You want to mix it up, which we've been doing. But I think at the end of the day, it really just comes down to getting pressure, whether it's, man blitzes, sprinkling some simulated stuff with some zone concepts. Just throw a lot of different stuff at him. Continue to disguise. This guy, again, he makes really good decisions, but that doesn't mean he's, perfect. It doesn't mean he can't be gotten with that stuff. So I think the biggest thing is just got to find ways to throw different stuff at him, make him uncomfortable, and try to make it, get him off his spot. Try to force him into doing some things that he typically probably wouldn't do. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup, but we'll talk more about it. We got one more day to do that here tomorrow on the show, but for today, we got to get out of here. I'll hang out on the stream here maybe for a few more minutes if you guys have any last-minute questions or want to see anything on tape. But that being said, we will be back here tomorrow, our last day before the big matchup. We won't be live Thursday only because all the pregame, coverage and all that game does kick off at 3. So make sure you guys come back tomorrow again, 11. You guys know the drill. Central Time. We'll get you guys ready for it. Take your predictions, all that good stuff. And then hopefully we'll be back on Friday with the Victory Friday edition of the show. And before I get out of here, for our radio listeners, make sure you guys check us out tonight over on the Bama Standard. I'll be hanging out with those guys at 6, so you guys can catch us doing that as well. This has been the Miller's Edge presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. Big thanks to all you guys, Chase, our listeners, everybody that makes it all possible per usual. And looking forward to doing it again tomorrow right here at Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
You've been listening to the Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily.
Hey, this completely forgot that we still had a caller on. That's on me. Damn. I just need to start just saying, all right, this segment will take callers. That way we can just time it. I feel bad when I forgot we left him stranded, man. Just we start covering so many things come up, man. Real quick. Appreciate it, Justin. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. This kind of new format that we've been rolling with. My dad's been he took over a church, so he's been real busy with all that. So kind of new format, man. Just kind of me running the ship and doing all that. But yeah, I'll jump on. I'll be jumping on the Bama Standard tonight at 6 with those guys, along with another former wide receiver as well. So just talking about the matchup. But it starts at 6, so you guys come check that out tonight. I don't know. Maybe we'll do some stuff with Justin. I told him yesterday. I want to do some more streaming stuff. You know what's crazy though? It's the weirdest thing, Justin, man. I swear, and I don't post nearly enough, but I swear it's hard to get some traction with this stuff sometimes, man. It's weird. I don't know what the deal is. I mean, you would think, hell, with as many fans as we got, Alabama fans, you would think, man, it'd be a little bit easier sometimes, but ain't always the case, brother. Ain't always the case. Where were we at on here? Oh, for some camps. Oh, so y'all are hosting like actual football camps. That's smart, man. Yeah, definitely let me know if y'all do something like that. Whoever scores the most points at the end will probably win. Yeah, I feel like that's probably a good a safe bet. I feel like that's a safe bet, man. These guys will definitely take their shots. I'll say that. It was down in distance here. 1st and 10. Shit. I mean, listen, he throws an accurate ball. I'll say that. The other shot he threw, I think, a few plays before this. I mean, damn. Yeah, I'll definitely. No, I used to do that. I help out with like the football camps with Alabama here. Then when I was in school, I used to help out with Coach Castile, Jeremiah Castile. He used to hold some football camps. I lost count the number of Bama podcasts. Nah, there's definitely a whole bunch. The thing with us is, I mean, I always tell people we're a little bit different because, I mean, we're a radio show first and foremost. We kind of just stream the radio show, but then two, the goal is, I mean, we really end up covering Alabama the majority of the time, but I mean, we're going to start covering a lot more stuff. It's just right now, everybody wants to talk Alabama, so got to cater to the audience, man. But the goal is, I mean, definitely start breaking down some other teams, but probably more so SEC. I'm a big SEC guy. Dang, Ricky, you show up at the end of the show. Where you been at, dude? Indiana won at Oklahoma, bro. They don't want to see us. We're finally healthy with momentum. Ricky, I swear, bro, you've been hella confident over the last week and a half or so, bro. I agree with you, though. I don't think they really wanted to see us either, though. I mean, but listen, nobody wants to see a team like Alabama is like the perfect example of a football team that is a really good football team. They have the talent. They just were kind of, going through a period of, I guess, stretch, not playing their best ball, but under the surface, right? I mean, you know what the team is capable of. And now they're kind of finding that footing. Alabama is arguably probably one of the most dangerous teams in this college football playoff. The only other one that I would say to me would maybe be Georgia. Georgia kind of feels similar to that. Earlier in the year, Georgia didn't have things necessarily figured out. They're playing some of their best ball right now. I mean, just going back to the SEC championship game, I mean, we saw that. Their defense specifically. Their offense, it is what it is. I mean, Georgia's not going to have this big explosive offense, but they do enough. They run the football well. They're physical. They can make plays. They got, arguably some of the best skill guys they've had with Coach Smart. I'm sure they're also getting a lot healthier as well. Their offensive line play got a lot better. They've turned things around, and they're playing some of their best ball right now. So I would say, I mean, Georgia and Alabama are two teams a lot of people probably don't want to see in the college football playoffs. Georgia might take the nod, though. Then maybe Alabama. Just because we've only showed for like 3 quarters against Oklahoma. There's still some more we got to prove. Question is, can Alabama create quarterback pressure with only 4 defensive linemen? If you bring a 5th guy, Mendoza will take advantage of the one-on-ones. Good news is we got good guys in secondary, but yeah, I mean, can we create rush with 4? I've always said, I mean, if you have 4 guys up front that you can get home with, I mean, that's a recipe for, I mean, a defensive coordinator has so much more free reign to do so much more stuff. On the back end, you have an extra guy in coverage. That's what made, I always say this, right? Like, that's what made the defenses that I played on here under Coach Saban so good. Yes, we ran simulators. Yes, we had plenty of 3rd down packages. We had plenty of things that we could do. But the reality was we didn't have to use half of that shit. I mean, when you got Jonathan Allen, when you've got, different era, but, Bugs, who had, almost 10 sacks. You got Quinnen Williams, who was damn near a double-digit sack guy. I had 9 or 9.5, something like that, sacks. You got Anthony Jennings, who's a, 8-sack guy. I mean, across the board, I mean, literally outside in, inside out. I mean, we didn't need to bring pressure like that. Our front was just so good. I mean, even like, Jonathan Allen, Tim Williams, Ryan Anderson, Ashawn Robinson, Jaron Reed, you know what I mean? Like, when you got guys like that, I mean, shit, man, dude. A defensive coordinator doesn't have to get too cute. You don't have to get too cute or too fancy. Yeah, I mean, bro, we were fortunate. I ain't gonna lie. You want to see some Indy's defense? Yeah, we watched some of that yesterday. I'll put it back on here. Maybe I might do it tomorrow though. But who covers Surratt? I always say this when people ask like who's going to be matched up in college. Man, you don't really see like in the NFL. You know what I mean? Where they have like one designated guy covering somebody. You have like your dominant corner following a guy around. That's more of a pro thing. You don't really see that much in college. In college, a lot of field and boundary, left and right type deal, strength and weak side. You know what I mean? Whether, people lining up to passing strength or things like that. That's more of kind of what dictates certain matchups most of the time. Now, what you do see is some bracket stuff. Maybe if you're playing Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State, who's just like a dominant force, you'll see, a lot of bracket coverage, which is double teaming, right? That's about as close as you get to maybe like designating people to do certain things, but you'll never see it like Kane Womack, especially this. I think I'm almost positive. Matter of fact, I don't know why I'm even doubting it, but it's like a field and boundary type deal with them, right? So they won't have somebody following him around. It's just whoever lines up on him. But regardless, I mean, Xavier Brown is our best corner. Damani Jackson, I know he struggled some this year, but he's still a really talented guy. Dejon Lee, really good football player as well. I like Red Morgan a lot. I love how physical he plays with. And on the back end, I mean, Bray Hubbard does a solid job. Really, I mean, has a knack to find the football. Keon Sabb is a really good player as well. I mean, I think we'll be fine. Jonathan Allen, Superman. Oh, yeah, that play against Texas A&M. UGA and Bama are two teams everyone will have their hands full dealing with. Yeah, no, I agree. Bama's health going into this game is huge. There's close to 100% as any team left, plus IU hasn't played in a month. I think that's bad for them. Yeah, I wonder how that does play a role here. I mean, last year, all the number one teams lost in the first round, or the top seeds. Looks like they're taking a play out of our book. Got some pin and pull type action here. People love that pin and pull, man. This is what I'm talking about executing. This is the difference of like when we run some of these plays versus some others people, run it. Now, granted, Ohio State kind of is in a bad spot here. You kind of see, but Indiana does a nice job, right? They got like this bubble screen action down to the field. So, I mean, you see what happens. I mean, it's drawing these second and third level defenders. So, really, numbers wise, you're good here. But just seeing how they're getting that block sealed, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like with us, we'd have everything what we want up here. Then it's always like one guy on the backside that doesn't finish a block, and this guy ends up making that play. So instead of, ends up being a 4, maybe 5-yard run at best, instead of it being an explosive like this. This is what Indiana does well in terms of executing. So when you hear everybody keep rinse and repeating those same things, this is kind of what you're seeing, man. They execute really well. I have a gut feeling we run the ball decently well this game, and I'm fairly negative towards our O-line and lack of talent in the running back room. I think there's a chance, just like, people didn't expect us. Hell, I didn't even expect us to run the ball great against Oklahoma the first time, and we did. Now, granted, again, it didn't come for maybe, I guess, later in the game, things like that, but still, we found a way. Look, this team is not a 150 plus team on the ground. That's just not who we are. You know what I mean? I think the biggest thing is you just want some consistency and just the balance. And so can we establish that? I think we could. They're missing one of their key guys on the D-line. But listen, they're physical. They execute well. They fit the run well. They tackle well. So, can we be successful running the football? I'm sure we can, right? We've got good players too. But I think it starts with being physical up front, and it really ultimately comes down to executing, finishing blocks. If we don't do those things, which we haven't been great at, I don't see us rushing for over 80 yards. And that would be, if we rush for 80, I think that'd be a good day. But if we execute well, we finish blocks or physical, I think we can have some success. Again, these guys, they're not like, when you watch them, again, you see the tape. They're not like blowing you away. Like that run we just saw, they executed well, but it's not like they just are dominating Ohio State. It's not like that at all. They literally they're just executing. Had a nice look. It was a nice call. Ran into the boundary. Had the numbers advantage. They run this play a lot too. It's called GT counter. It's just counter with the guard and tackle. But I've seen them run this a number of times. Yeah, the guy looks like somebody was supposed to climb up but didn't get there. Either that tight end or it looks like a tight end is supposed to keep climbing to that backer. 0. Got buried down in there, ends up making the tackle. I'm telling you, it always comes down to like one guy. If you watch the tape, like watch the tight end, which I feel like he don't need to get buried in that anyway. This guy's a 3 technique. I wouldn't even call this a 4-eye. That's a 3 technique. You got a tackle blocking down there. Tackle's taking that 3 technique. This guy, he's way too invested in that trash. If this guy climbs up how he's supposed to, boom, boom, and now you got a one-on-one to safety. I mean, that's probably damn near a touchdown. You just got to make one guy miss. But that's the execution we're talking about. Like that, like with us, and if you guys have been watching me do breakdowns, you've seen. I mean, anytime with our running game, when everybody was like wondering what's going on, there's always something like that. It's always like one guy not finishing block, one guy not climbing to the second level. And instead of it being explosive, ends up going for just a couple yards. I think our speed and talent roster causes issues. Roster to roster matchup. Obviously, we have better athletes. Wish we did more RPO. I agree. I don't know why we don't run more RPO. Now we did start. We have implemented some more as of recently. I feel like I've seen a little bit of it recently, but we haven't hardly ran a bunch of RPO this year. I don't know why. I mean, it's hard on the defense. I don't understand. Split zone with a little bit of RPO action. Or is that power? I wouldn't necessarily say it's not a tie thing. I just don't think this system really has a bunch of it. Unless I'm wrong. Maybe I need to go back and watch Washington some more, but I don't think it's really been this system like requires is it puts so much on the quarterback. And I think Ty, without a doubt, listen, Ty is an athlete, number one. So if you're talking about even from that aspect, but RPO is not even just, quarterback run. I mean, it's really sometimes just making the decision to hand the football off. And I think if you're tasking Ty to do all these pre-snap checks and audibles and get things like, I mean, I'm almost positive he could handle an RPO. I just don't think it's never really been a big part of this system. But listen, that's why as a coach, man, like sometimes I get the system is the system. Sometimes, man, you got to find ways to do things different, especially if it's going to help your football team out. They'll do more run pass option with Indiana. It was hard to do against it. They actually did some against Oklahoma, I'm pretty sure. We hadn't really seen much this year. Passing attack, focus on the perimeter. Yeah, well, you got some perimeter stuff, but you definitely get deep middle field. Those digs and those overs. We love attacking that. Some switch release concepts, trying to attack. Cover two holes. We've seen a good bit of that as well. I just feel like this system could include a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, because there's times we like the first time we played Georgia, we had a lot of screen game in there. I mean, tight end screens. You've seen tight end delay screens. I mean, screens with the back. I mean, bubbles and tunnels. But I feel like some of the true drop back plays in this system are too long developing. Concepts. I feel like there needs to be a little bit more balance. Like, I mean, more screen game. You know what I mean? Like just some quick like stick concepts, just getting the ball out quick. Just moving the football down the field. It's hard to ask Ty to throw in zone coverage, which causes tight windows. They drop 6 or 7 every play. That's why we hope we can run the ball, make them play man to man. And this is why you got to get – now, this is almost a coverage sack. Not almost. This is a coverage sack. I mean, he's scrambling because there's nowhere to go with the football. It's a coverage sack. Let's see what Ohio State's playing on the back end here. They're showing man coverage pre-snap. I mean, you got a guy in press up here. Now I get it. Those are, stacks and bunches. So but you always can tell by the safety look too. I mean, this is definitely given man. Or at least some form of it. Which they pretty much take away everything. And really, I don't know why he's doing that with the football like that. I mean, this end at the bottom is running the hoop up top. And he's really kind of spooked, and there's not even really pressure like that. But you see what happens, man. Nowhere to go. He starts getting a little antsy. Ends up being a sack. It's going to be important, man. If we can play man like that and keep it contained like that, I think it definitely can cause a lot of issues for him. As you can see, though, I mean, yeah, not a burner, but he's definitely a good enough athlete to extend plays, roll out, scramble. See where the pressure came from. Right guard. Quick swim. I think LT rushing out of that 3/4 eye on that right guard, man. Definitely could be a matchup to watch. With the draw. It's a good call and good execution. Ohio State's in a tight front, right? You got 4 eye, 0, 4 eye. But you see what they're doing. The thing is, they're dropping both these backers. So that means those 4 eyes have contained. That's why they're working out like that. So draw is a perfect concept here because literally, I mean, they're taking themselves out of position. Everybody's dropping in coverage, right? So, I mean, perfect call for what they're doing defensively. And that's the other thing, too. Sometimes you got to remember, too, when it's like, man, we're not getting pass rush. But if you watch and see, like, what front we're in, I'm just telling you, rushing from, hell, even a tight 5 is not always easy just because your angle. You know what I mean? So let alone a 4 eye, and you're supposed to get contained. All you can do in these situations, you're just pushing the pocket. You know what I mean? You're just going to power. But that draw is, great concept there. I almost wonder if let's see if they checked or something. No, they just had it called. Just happened to be a good play call. Maybe they're going off tendencies. Ohio State's playing a lot of man coverage, it seems like. Last time I watched, I paid a lot more attention to the guys up front. I'm trying to watch the back end now. Great timing on that throw. I mean, you look at that, ball's coming out before that dude even ball's out literally before he even breaks. That's what I'm talking about. This guy as a quarterback, he's a good player, man. I mean, that's great timing. Great ball, great play. It's running zone. Oh, we're ready to go. Second and 8. Another RPO. You see a lot of it, man. This RPO system. So the question about can Ty do this? I mean, in terms of RPO, man, it's pre-snap determines a lot, right? With what these quarterbacks are doing, without a doubt, Ty could handle that. He gets the look that he wants. He knows he's pulling it, right? That's why he immediately. I mean, their corner's playing off up top. They got their safety. I think 18 is a safety, but the motion tells you they're in zone. You know what I mean? Like, it's like little concepts like that. And this is kind of like a little bit of a rub concept, right? Not necessarily, but you see just like the quick little hitch right there. Kind of just getting away. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like we're talking about getting Ryan Williams the ball. You know what I mean? Like, I think like little concepts like this, right? Having that when you guys hear me talk about like rub concepts and stuff, that's what I'm talking about. Like, have Ryan at that spot. Like what Zero's doing. You know what I mean? Have a little bit of rub concept. Make sure you help get him some space and let him make plays with the ball in his hands. I mean, that's what he does best. Nah, you're good, Ricky. Just go back and listen to it. It's a good show, man. It's definitely a good show today. All right. I'm gonna get out of here. I think I need to call somebody, man. Get this heat back running. But how can I watch these? And some you gotta have the all 22 film. You gotta have access to it, man. Your hands up, passing lanes, no doubt. All right, we'll leave on this note. Keelan Russell claims that he's 100% staying. Let's see it. Dwight said he tagged us in it. According to AL.com. Man, no, I'm 100% here. Wait, let's see if we can find it from AL.com itself, but I don't be trusting some of these people sometimes. That's good, though. But that's what I was saying about him. He gives me the impression that he's a guy, he's got his head on straight. He didn't strike me as somebody oh, Lord, these folks in the media, boy, they're going to take advantage of any opportunity they get, boy. They get to talk to these guys they don't normally talk to. First thing, oh, are you going to stay? Are you going to be here? I don't blame them, though. I mean, that's going to get their clicks. All right. Wait, here. Wait, hold on. Wait, all right, wait, hold on. This is kind of interesting. Damn, people are talking about it's too quiet. It's too loud. About broke my eardrums. All right, so it says they asked Austin Mack and Keelan Russell their plans for next season. These are both their answers, real quick. We'll talk about this on the show tomorrow, but this is what Austin Mack had to say.
I mean, right now I'm focused on this moment. I mean, we're in the Rose Bowl. I got to be ready. I got to be ready to play on Thursday. So just knowing that I'm one play away and being ready for my guys.
He gone. Yeah, he's out of there. Hey, Christian, you kind of media now, you know. Yeah, in a sense, but there's a difference between a journalist and me just being the media because I do broadcasting. That's different. Listen, I'm not saying it in a sense like I'm better than them. I don't want to say like that. What I'm saying is, and you guys can attest to this, I could give two shits about clicks and likes and all that. I want the channel to grow because I enjoy our platform that we're building, and I enjoy breaking the game of football down and educating people really how the game of football.
I mean, right now I'm
really how the game of football is played. Right? Nothing drives me more nuts than seeing people in the media that, again, it's not. You don't have to have the playing experience necessarily, but I think it definitely helps you in terms of your knowledge of the game. It drives me nuts when I see like anybody nowadays can just make a podcast, whatever. You know what I mean? And start like posting breakdowns and this and that. And half the time I see these things and it's not right. Like it's just not right. And so it just annoys me because I'm like, there's a lot of people that just buy into what they don't understand what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? So they're listening to people that don't even know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So no. I know you're trolling. I was saying that because I don't want people to, when I say those things, I don't want people to be like, oh, like you think because you played, you're better than these people. No. I promise it's not that. Nah, it's not that. It's just, I'm just saying personally, you guys know me. I could give two shits about clicks, likes, or whatever. That I hardly even post on our thing. You know what I mean? It's probably part of our problem. We probably need to start doing a lot more of that. But like, and you know this. I mean, you know, I'm literally in the building all the time. I know everybody. Like, you know how many times I sit here doing my show every day, know all types of stuff that's not even out, that hasn't been out, some stuff that never even came out. I just don't say anything, just out of respect. You know, even like guys like in the national scene, like they'll do that and they know, like they have connections, like a guy like Peyton stuff, like they have those connections and they do that as part of their job. That's fine. Me personally, I just don't really care about it. Like I've never really cared to be the first or some breaking news thing. Like me and my dad never roll like that, man. Like, that's what I mean by I'm not really a member of the media. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do this for fun. It's passive income for me, and I really just enjoy talking football and educating people. So you always know how to, even though I know you're trolling, it's funny. You always have me like going on these whole side quests and stuff. No, I am though. Yeah, just like me, Damien, Greg, all of us. Yeah, we're technically in the media, but difference though, from broadcasting and journalism. Like I do broadcasting, like stuff I do with the network and all that. That's just a big difference. Journalism's not for me. Journalism, you're reporting, oh, so and so got in trouble doing this. Nah, that ain't my business, man. I don't. That's why you hear me. I don't talk about when there's disciplinary stuff. Nah, that ain't my business. Shit, we just break down football. That's why I think people still tell me stuff because they know I'm not. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's all about respect. You know what I mean? Like I'm just telling you guys right now. I mean, like, if we needed to know exactly what the hell was going on with a certain person or some whatever, I'd know that in 5 seconds. And it's just out of respect. I'm just not going to, come on my show and talk about it. But sometimes, I'll let you guys read between the lines with stuff if I feel like it's things. I've been told so many things through the years about what's going on behind the scenes and not. Yeah. It's just like I said, it's a respect thing. Again, journalists though is different. I mean, that's their job. Their job is to get clicks, write stories, and all that. I've never been one to be into that, just because I'll be honest with you, as a player, y'all. I mean, believe it or not, I could not stand the media as a player. With all due respect, I couldn't stand the media, because I just witnessed how it was. I mean, they built you up when things were going right, then immediately when things go bad, I mean, they just start, crapping on you, this, that, and the third. And I know some of you guys are probably like, wait, isn't that what you? No. I'm not. Listen, I just call it for what it is. I'm just breaking it down. That is Wyatt. I didn't even recognize him. Looks like he got a haircut. Yeah, that is. Good eye. Just like I mean, like the Bama Standard, like same thing. I mean, like they do media, but they're not journalists. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, or maybe they want to be journalists. I'm just saying, but like they're breaking stuff down. They got people on guests on there. I look at that a little bit different. Hugh Freeze, media zapped them. Oh yeah, I mean, like Ryan Williams is a perfect example, man. Like, and it's not his fault, and it's probably not. I don't put all the blame on the media because they have a job to do, but at the same time, like, that's why you hear, like, when I talk about like Ryan or other guys, like, listen, if they're struggling, I'm transparent, but I'm always very respectful of it because I've been in those shoes. You know what I mean? Not necessarily like from like the struggling standpoint is in that type of spotlight, but just saying, like, as a player, no one's ever going to be perfect, and you're going to be the hardest on yourself. Like, no one cares more than these players than these coaches. Like, I was just talking to somebody the other day. I was like people are so quick to have these opinions and things, but they don't realize, like, they fall, they hurt something, like say like they trip and they have a bad ankle or whatever, and they're like in a cast at their office job. And I'm like, well, imagine having to play like being expected to go out there and play 100%, like the game of football. Like, man, that's what these guys go through. Plus, even if you tell viewers things don't fit their narrative, they say you don't know what you're talking. Yeah, nah, true. Media sounds a lot like fans. Yeah, it can. Well, and I hate to say it, but a lot of people in the media are fans. I mean, that's why they they join the media because I mean they love sports and like that's their avenue. Which again, nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody. There's a lot of people in the media that are great. I don't mean to sound anti-media. Damn, Adam just came out of nowhere with the super chat, man. Dang, Adam, what's up, man? Watch out, buddy. Maybe my dog's over here trying to celebrate the super chat, I guess. He randomly just came over here, man. Shout out to Adam, man, with the big $50 super chat, man. Adam says, Happy New Year's, Christian. Indiana looks both talented and unusually disciplined on film. So I got this light here. I'm trying to read around it. From inside the program, what's the mindset right now? Are they confident and think they can make a run? Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. And again, don't forget to get up with me if I mean, I know you're so generous, man, with your contributions, man. Please, if we can advertise, brother, I'd be more than happy to. But in terms of kind of what the status is, I'm gonna be straight up with you, man. I was talking with some folks before they headed out. This team is Alabama's confident. I'm gonna be honest with you. They're confident going into this game. I mean, I would go as far as saying, I mean, they almost feel. How do I word this? I don't want to make it seem like people are like underestimate them. I wouldn't say it like that, but they look at it from the sense that this is a very similar to kind of what I've been saying about this Indiana team. They're not necessarily blowing you away with the players that they have or what they do necessarily. It's more so just like you just said, Adam, how disciplined they are, how well they play within the system. They have a really good scheme. They know how to attack you, like we were seeing on tape with Ohio State. Excuse me. Their players execute at a really high level. But I think the staff understands that, listen, we've got a lot of damn good football players. And when they're executing at a high level, we're a damn good football team. And so just talking with some of the coaches and folks in the building, I'll just say that they're confident about this matchup. They respect Indiana. They know they're a good football team. They know it's going to require them to play a clean game, to execute at a high level as well. But they understand that they've played a team in the likes of Georgia, which the last time they played Georgia didn't go great, but they understand they weren't healthy. They're playing the SEC championship game, missing a number of guys. They hadn't really had that proper time to really get some of those guys back healthy and whatnot. And if I'm just being honest with you, I think they feel like they've played a team that's probably just as good, if not better, than Indiana in the likes of, Georgia, and hell, even Oklahoma. I mean, you got to respect them. I mean, they're a good football team. Maybe not the offense might not be to the same level as Indiana quite, but in terms of just the physicality, the aggressiveness, and things that they can do defense, I mean, like this team has played some really good teams. They've been tested. So that's how I would word that, Adam. They're confident. They're confident going into this matchup. That don't mean they don't respect. They definitely respect Indiana. But I think the way it came off to me was that they don't view this as like, oh man, this is a team that we haven't played a team yet that stacks up with this Indiana team. I almost get the vibe that they feel like Georgia is probably a better pound for pound team than Indiana, which they've beaten this year on the road at their place. So, yeah, Adam, I definitely think we can beat them. I think it's going to be tough, but I think we can beat them. I mean, we just got to play really sound. But I view it like this. If defense can continue what they've been doing, they can find ways to get pressure. Really, if you build off of what you did against Oklahoma in the final 2.5 quarters, I really feel like we can win this football game. If we play the way if we build off the momentum from the final 2.5 quarters from the Oklahoma game, we can beat this Indiana football team. The problem is, here's the big but, right? Here's a big thing. You're not going to be afforded those same, mulligans. Like Indiana, right? Like comparing like the whole Oklahoma thing. You get like, that's what I was saying earlier about Damian. Some of the stuff that Damian says, I mean, whether people like it or not, I mean, he's not wrong. But when he was talking about, if you go out there and give if you gift them a start like Oklahoma did, Indiana's offense is too capable. They're not going to just let you just come back from a deficit like that. You can't have that. You just can't. You're not going to beat a team that fundamentally sound, that executes at that rate if you play, a brand of football like we saw in the first quarter against Oklahoma. Not going to happen. If you play the way you played against Georgia in the SEC championship game, not executing, being out physical because Indiana's a physical football team, not connecting on some of the, the passing game, the explosives that we've gotten accustomed to seeing, early on in the year, that is a big part of this offense. Ty Simpson looks a little flustered. Offensive line having, trouble keeping him clean. Receivers not helping him out. If you see that brand of football, you're not going to beat Indiana. Too clean of a team. That's how I view it, Adam and everybody else who's wondering. That's how I view it. If you show up like those 2.5 quarters against Oklahoma, without a doubt, Alabama can beat Indiana. I mean, we just watched a bunch of the Ohio State tape again. It's not like, Ohio State's a really good team, a top, 2 team for a reason. It's not like they, beat up on them. It was like, damn. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, Ohio State was up on them really majority of the game. I think Ohio State was like they're up at least by a score, maybe even 10 points at one point, whatever it was. Indiana, again, with them being well coached, very disciplined, and executing well, they just keep chomping at the bit, and they find ways. They got a quarterback that's capable. And to me, that's the biggest quote unquote concern for me in this game. We played, because Indiana's got we played really good defenses. We played South Carolina's defense, who's damn good. We played LSU. We played Auburn. We played Missouri, Oklahoma. All these teams, really good defense that gave us challenges. The one thing that they also have in common outside of having good defense, none of those teams had a capable offense. Missouri, yeah, they ran the ball well, but the quarterback was terrible in terms of stretching the football down the field. South Carolina, their offense was bad. LSU offense, not great. Oklahoma, not great either. You know what I mean? So my biggest question is, can Alabama overcome the challenge of playing a team with a really good defense, but to complement that, an offense that is more than capable? I'm not saying the offense is like the best offense I've ever seen, but they've got a Heisman Trophy quarterback for a reason. They got a ground game that's very successful. They got guys that can make some plays for them. And that, to me, is the biggest difference between this Indiana team and any team that we've played this year, outside of maybe Georgia. Georgia's probably similar now. The second game Georgia team is similar to what Indiana could be. I think Georgia has more talent than Indiana, but in terms of the way Georgia's defense is playing now and the offense that can do enough, that is kind of what you're expecting out of this matchup, which we know how the second one went with Georgia, but we didn't have our guys healthy. And I think that could be a big deal. Sorry, I know I went on a whole thing, but when Adam's generous like that, man, I feel like I owe it to Adam to give him like everything I got in the answer, man. I feel like I got to answer every little aspect to his question, man, because I definitely appreciate his support. Like I told you, Adam, man, it's all going back. You're an investor in the Miller's Edge. Just look at it like a stock, man. We got us a new PC set up. So big thanks to Adam. The mic is coming up next. So Adam's buying stock in the Miller's Edge, man. Everything's going back into the show, I promise, man. Mistakes killed us against Georgia. Yeah, and again, if you see that type of play, it's I promise you, if you play like that against Indiana, it could be a similar game. And I think that's why you're seeing some of these national people. I don't think it's because they have an agenda or anything. I think it really just boils down to, if Alabama plays like that, Indiana is capable of putting on a similar type deal like you saw out of Georgia. You know what I mean? So Tennessee's the best offense that we've played with a decent defense. Yeah, exactly. And we played really well that game. Problem with Indy and OSU is they both play the same crappy competition. Listen, their schedules aren't, the same as something that maybe we see. But to be fair, they did beat Ohio State, who was number 1 at the time, undefeated. They did go on the road and beat Oregon, who's another top 5, top 16, whatever it is. Then I think the other one was like Iowa or whatever it was. I think they're like 8-4. So, I mean, compared to us, if you go back, and look at it now, retroactively, you go back and view our schedule, it doesn't look as pretty as it did at the time. Not too bad necessarily, but yeah, I mean, it's not on a consistent basis like we are. But yeah, man, it's definitely going to be interesting. But big thanks to Adam, man. Seriously, thank you so much, man. Happy New Year to you, man. Hopefully we all can start it on the right foot with a dub, man. Get us a Bama dub and roll on to the next round where we could potentially see my former position coach, Tosh Lapoy, defensive coordinator at Oregon, if they can take care of business with Texas Tech, man. I think it's going to be an interesting game. Definitely going to be tuned into that one. But that said, guys, I think I'm going to get out of here. We didn't listen to Keelan. Let's listen to his, or Ryan, I think. What was the other one? I think Keelan.
I'm staying here for sure. I'm roll tide all the way.
Short and sweet. I'm sure people love it. I mean, listen, there ain't no hesitation.
I'm staying here for sure. I'm roll tide all the way.
Listen, between the two answers, and listen, there's nothing wrong with what Austin Mack said. I mean, I'm glad he's just being honest, and he is right. He needs to focus on the now. I'm not saying it means he's definitely gone. I was joking around, but yeah, I mean, ain't nothing to waver on that. I mean, literally, I don't think there's anything to even. So, sounds like be waiting on Ty's decision, but I'll be honest with you. I mean, if Ty leaves, Ty wouldn't have been a first round pick. Unless he just wants to come back to develop a little bit more. I think what's probably going to end up happening is Ty leaves. I just it sound to me, I feel like Austin Mack might end up leaving. But I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Ty leaves, Austin stays, and you just got them competing. And who knows? Maybe Austin Mack wins a job for one more year, then he's got one more year. Listen, I mean, if Keelan can be patient, honestly, he's going to be good regardless, man. And it sounds like he's got some of that patience. I just feel like, yeah, I don't know. In this day and age, it's hard to say. But nobody can blame Austin Mack at all. I mean, he's kept his head down, worked. He's been developing. Best believe there's going to be some people contacting him. A guy like that, the Alabama brand behind his name, being under Coach DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, 6'6". I mean, the dude's built like, I don't want to throw it around loosely. I don't want to say he's built like Cam Newton because Cam Newton's built like, I mean, a freaking Marvel hero, but big guy, has some athletic ability. He's going to be definitely getting some offers. So can't blame him, man. It's part of it. It is what it is. But all right, let me get out of here. Again, tonight I'll be joining the Bama Standard literally in just a few hours. So you guys can check that out. Starts at 6. Talking the same stuff been talking here, breaking down this Rose Bowl, but we'll be doing it with those guys. So make sure you guys check it out if you're free. And then again, we'll be back tomorrow, last show before the big one, and then we'll be back on Friday. So, dang, Tia says Austin Mack to Michigan State with Nick Sheridan. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, that makes sense. Makes a ton of sense. We'll definitely be watching out for it. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't, man, just hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe if you guys enjoy it. And again, we'll be back here tomorrow, running it back right here on the Miller's Edge. We'll see you guys then.